All right, a very good morning, everybody, from the flight deck once again, or it almost looks like we're from the tower scopes today. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. We are live here for season 14 of A Pilot's Life here, live on Twitch with me, Captain Nabs. Interesting story. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. I dropped a few hints in my Discord, I think, for anyone who was paying attention. But yeah, at the end of last season, we did discuss changing venues completely. And when I say completely, I mean new continent. So I did end up biting the bullet, and we are now going to be operating in Europe. As you can probably tell if you have a look at the airport in front of you here. You can probably figure out who we're working for based on the airport and also based on the airplane. It's kind of in the distance there, right in the middle. But you should be able to. I wonder if this key works. No, but this key should work here. So if I just zoom in a little bit. So for those of you that don't recognize the airport, we are in Stockholm's Arlanda. On the left side there, that little red jet bridge there that doesn't move in all the directions, but it just sort of slides forwards and backwards. It's a bit of a unique feature of Stockholm's Arlanda. So here we are in Stockholm Arlanda. I'm not sure if I can actually move this view at all, just zoom in and out, but yeah, we are going to be flying for the next season at least for Scandinavian Airlines, SAS. You can see us right there at the 12 o'clock there with the bright red engines. It's I can zoom in a little more and you can get a good good shot of that airplane there. Yeah, there it is. We are going to be taking the Scandinavian Airlines Airbus A320 today. And let me just pull myself up here. There we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. And yeah, where are we going to go today? So I mentioned we are in Stockholm's Arlanda, parked there at gate F39. If you can just read it on the side of the building there. And today we are going to be doing my first flight in Europe for A Pilot's Life and for Scandinavian Airlines. And today we are going from Stockholm Arlanda to Milan Malpensa. So that's it's about a 2.5 hour flight, so a good length stream, and this is kind of what I was looking for, was to get some flights into that sweet spot. And Europe really lives in that sweet spot. You can have much shorter flights, but the trouble with the US, especially any of the major airlines, is that you start to get some long legs. The US is a very big country. It's 3,000 miles side to side, so you can get some 5-hour legs in there, and really anything over 2.5 to 3 hours really is becoming a little bit feasible for a stream, for a live stream. I've done longer live streams in the past, and it just becomes a real grind by the end of it. Not just the flying, but also trying to find stuff to talk about. I end up having to take multiple breaks because of it. So I'm really trying to live in that 2 to 3 hour window. So Europe, I think, is perfect, and Scandinavian actually really kind of checks all my boxes for what I was looking for a European airline, because it's got not one but 3 hubs in the 3 Scandinavian countries: Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. So we have hubs in Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm. So we have multiple hubs. We're not going to be just operating in and out of the same hub like most European airlines. It was basically between kind of this and EasyJet was basically my 2 choices for multiple hub airlines. Everything else pretty much operates out of 1 to 2 hubs and is very quickly becomes repetitive. So that's what I was kind of hoping for. So yeah, we've got a pretty good season going on here. As you can see, this is our season in map view. We're going from Stockholm down to Milan, back up to Copenhagen, and then we do go in and out of Copenhagen a fair bit. Copenhagen down to, I think, Vienna, or is that, sorry, Copenhagen to Munich, Munich, and then Munich back to Oslo, over to London Heathrow, back to Copenhagen, down to Rome, and back to Oslo. So we hit the hubs a couple times, but it's not going to be completely alternating. Every flight's going to be the same airport. So I kind of liked SAS for that reason. So plus there's also some beautiful scenery. We've got the Microsoft Flight Simulator updates for the Nordics installed now, as well as all the European ones. And my God, I need a new hard drive after just doing that. I didn't have any of that stuff installed because I was primarily flying North America, and now that I have switched, it is just it's a whole different ball game now that I've switched to Europe, because there's just so many updates. Each one is like 10 to 15 gigabytes. So you do like 8 updates, and all of a sudden you're up to 100 and something gigabytes just in the world updates. Not even including the loading custom scenery. This is I forget whose Stockholm this is. I forget. I did. This is not the default. The default was okay, but it wasn't great. This is just Orbex's, I believe, that we downloaded here. Orbex's Stockholm, Arlanda. So, it's a really good airport. It looks really good. The red jet bridges, which are a little bit unorthodox, they do work properly. You get the nice transparent glass. If we hop in the flight deck and do that, oop, I got my track IR going here. Didn't realize that. You can see like the building is completely transparent. You can see right through it, which we'll talk about that, but it does make it look really impressive. It does look like a really impressive piece of scenery from here. The other big thing that has changed now is season 14 coming up, and I mean, it was inevitable anyways, regardless of what I was doing, and I wanted to do it even at the end of last season, but it just didn't happen. Is that we have, sorry, not that, something else brand new coming at you over here, and it's just up here in the top, and we're going to be showing this off the whole time. But over here in the corner, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ChasePlane for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It finally released, and it's pretty much everything I wanted it to be. It reinvents the camera views, the camera system for MSFS, and it takes away all the limitations. So we were in the tower view. That's why we had that nice view from the distance. I can't, it's focused on your airplane. I can't move it side to side. I can just zoom in and out, but it is there. But you name it, we've got all sorts of different views, exterior views. We've got cinematic views. We've got, of course, the interior views. We can do the pedestal. We can do the overhead. We can do the EFB, and it just jumps back and forth so nicely. And we've got hotkeys for everything. So what you're going to probably find is that I am able to jump around so much more efficiently than Microsoft Flight Simulator ever allowed us to do before. It was just never efficient before, but boy, is it efficient now. So I'm going to be playing with that. Once we get going, I'll really kind of show you some of what ChasePlane can do. Hands down, though, spoiler alert, I think it's totally worth the money. I think it completely reimagines and takes away basically every limitation you can imagine from MSFS's default camera situation. Anyways, we'll circle back to that. Definitely, it's just going to live up here in the corner. It's got a nice little bar, and when you're not even using it, it just disappears into just this one little icon here. You can run your mouse over it. You get the little mini bar here, which just has your current view and your current group. But when you move your mouse away, you can barely even tell. There's just this little icon here. If I just move it down here somewhere where it's a little bit higher contrast, you'll see it there. Just that little ChasePlane icon right there is all it is. So it lives up in the corner of my screen. It's there whenever I need it, but I find it and usually I have it right in the top corner. You won't see it behind the view for today. We're definitely going to keep it here where you guys can see it, just so when I'm interacting with it, you know. The one thing I forgot to do is I'm sitting here and I realized this is I did not activate the FS2 crew. I was excited about getting ChasePlane ready, and then of course I had to go get my coffee. So let's go ahead and just fire up the FS2 crew. Where it is? There it is. Got a lot of FS2 crews in my library there. Thinking about it. It looks like it's working. All right. Oh, where'd he go? Where'd you go? Where'd you... Come on. There we go. Okay, so I got to move it on my other screen so I can keep an eye on it. And let's just change the settings. The one thing I want to change, I always like to change to a new FO voice every time. We're back to US female human Alicia. So I'm gonna pick a female. We'll make Alicia a redhead today. Let's start setting up.
Roger.
Now, maybe it's me. That sounds really weak. Let me just see here. I think that's running at maximum volume already, but I had it at... There we go. That's a little better. I think it's running okay for you guys. I think just my volume was down. Okay, let me know if the volume's not good. But otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to get started because we do have a 2-hour flight. We do have ATC online, so we may not have as much time to talk as we normally do. But we're definitely going to see... we're definitely going to get whatever we can done here and talk about ChasePlane once we get going. That's just the fire test. And one of the nice things about the fire test, and the rule here in Stockholm is do not start the APU until 5 minutes before departure. So sorry, Alicia, we're not doing that. One thing we do need to do, though, we got the she's got the IRSs aligning. We do need the crew oxygen on, nav lights on, and I find myself going back into old habits, but this is really nice and quick now. And look at how easily that slots to exactly where it needs to be. FMGC, let's initialize for SAS. Today's flight number is SAS 2689. 2689. And we are going from Stockholm, Arlanda to Milan, Malpensa. And a quick IRS initialization alignment doodly here. Doodly is a very technical term. Just ask Ned Flanders, he will tell you. Very technical term. Yes. Okay, so why is that so small? Doesn't need to be that small. We can get rid of you. Actually, no, let's go, because you're useful, so let's go there. And let's just widen you up a little bit here. So 5939.1 north by 1755.1 east. East, wow, I'm so used to saying west. I have to start saying east now. Oh, that's going to blow my mind. Alighting on that reference point, and back we go. All right. So she's going to hop out and do the walk around any second now. What the? Did somebody spawn on top of me? I think somebody had momentarily spawned on top of me, realized we were here. Oh, VATSIM. All right. While that's aligning, and I should have got that aligning sooner, we can do some stuff anyway. So the one thing we can do is, sorry, not that, we can do this. So let's go into here, and let's go ATSU AOC. We do have ATC online for departure today, so we're going to request an ATIS through the ACARS, which is the normal way you would do it. Just because it gives you a printed copy, it's easier. You're not listening and missing one thing and having to listen to the whole ATIS again. You know, I mean, if you don't have ACARS, obviously you do what you can, but this is such an easier system when you've got the ACARS system. Okay, so we got the load sheet preliminary in there, and we got the ATIS here for Charlie. Runway 8 in use, arrivals 1 left, and 8666, issued at 11:14, dry, 1 right. 01025, visibility cap okay, temperature 13.2.0, 1015. I gotta switch to the hectopascal setting on my altimeter here. Crazy, 1015. All right. So what we'll do is we'll now hop over here. And first of all, we will make sure we start boarding the aircraft, because that probably helps get stuff done. But then while that is happening, and I think I turned on verbose messages, and I probably don't need verbose messages anymore. I was having issues with GSX the last little while. Been having some issues with it, so I turned the verbose messaging up, but sometimes it's just too much, so I'm going to go down to only important messages. All right. While we're waiting for everything else, we need takeoff data calculated here. So takeoff runway 8, drive runway, optimal flaps. We won't force a toga. We don't need the anti-ice today. Packs on, sync to the load sheet, but then I'm going to increase it. So 67.8, we'll call it 68.2. So just a little higher than planned, so we got a little bit of margin. And live weather, 2997 inches, 14 degrees, 020 at 20. That sounds about right. Oops, what am I doing here? All right, so calculate some numbers. Seems reasonable. Flap 2 departure, 139, 141, 144. That all seems very reasonable. So I'd read the notes for Stockholm like a while ago anyways, like 3 weeks ago. I didn't read them last night. I should have probably read them last night, so hopefully there's nothing too crazy in here. I know that they said don't start the APU until 5 minutes before departure, which is pretty standard at most European airports, so definitely not starting it now. That's the one bad FS2 crew habit that really bugs me. So, all right. Just get some settings going in there. While we're waiting, we can also open up my charts on my other screen so we're ready. So today we got a very nice airplane. There's nothing faulty with the airplane. Everything should be working properly. If there are any faults in real time, then we will deal with them, but I don't have any MELs ahead of time on this airplane. I figured that just operating in Europe was going to be enough of a challenge. Okay, so Navigraph is slowly loading, and I did remember to run the update too before we started the day, which is good. All right, so here's our flight, Stockholm, Arlanda. Let's just make sure we've got these charts up here ready to go. 08 is going to be a very, very, very short taxi here, which is good. What we might have to do is we might have to do a lot of the checks before we even start taxiing, because once we start taxiing, we're going to be there in 30 seconds. I do like that they do have most of the airport information pages, airport briefing pages here. So, like, if you do want to brief yourself on what's going on, and I read these like 2 weeks ago, APUs not started earlier than 5 minutes before estimated time of pushback or taxi. You know, notes like this, and there's nothing really crazy that struck me about this. I mean, there are things like continuous descent, speed restrictions, but nothing that struck me as like crazy that we can't deal with. So, again, Europe's not a country I'm from. Europe's not a continent I'm familiar with. I've never really operated there too much, so the fact that we have ATC is going to be a blessing because they'll be able to kind of help us through, and hopefully I can get all these things. I wonder if we do have. Let's just see if we can get the PDC via ACARS. So we'll send for it now. Pre-departure clearance. All right. ESSA slash. You would think this stuff would auto-populate, but it did not. ACARS SAS 2689. Gate number, what are we, Fox 39, I think we are. Let's just go up here for a second. Nope, that is it up there? I can't quite see. If I do this, there we go. It is Fox 39. And ATIS we had was, dang it. I'm just going to get it on here because most of the time you actually have a printout. That's the key. Most places, it's Delta. You would actually have a printout. All right, so A320 ESSA should hopefully be able to go through. Now, I clicked it a second time, and hopefully it sent properly. I feel like I'm going to put this in one more time because I feel like I clicked this a second time, it blanked out the station, and I'm pretty sure like that's the address of the destination. So if it was blank, it probably won't ever come through. So let's put it in one more time. Fox 39. It's an A320. And we are SAS 2689. Information Delta, because I blanked it, and I'm pretty sure station is like the identifier on the Hoppy network of who you're sending it to. All right, we'll see if something comes back for that. We got 1 minute till IRS alignment, and then we're good to get started. All right, I'm excited. I'm excited to operate in. And the other thing about doing this is that we'll tend to get more ATC in Europe than we do in North America because the ATC is more dense and more common, but also because the hours I tend to stream, much more likely that we're going to be online here. So let's just find. I'm just trying to look me up on VATSIM radar now. Boarding is requested. Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Don't have a whole lot of en route ATC in Europe yet by the looks of it. Bunch of towers online, no ATC en route, but that's fine.
Security and safety checks are all done. Can we start boarding now?
Go for it.
Okay.
I don't know why. Is that the ATC message? Okay, I getcha. Hold on, wait for it.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Never got to really use this before. All right. Process speed standby. All right, close. Cleared 1342. 250515, PDC001, SAS 2689, cleared to LIMC off 08 via the Nosli 5 Lima, altitude
Completed. Bypass pin inserted.
5,000. Oh, don't spend the whole next hour asking me. Squawk 4451. I should have hit no when he asked to connect the tug now. 4451. Next frequency 21705. Oops, not that one, this one. So I have a whole bunch of buttons set up now. As you can see, I'm still kind of getting used to it. I've only been using ChasePlane for a couple of weeks. I haven't had that many opportunities to fly in the last couple of weeks. 21705 is next, okay. ATC info did. Caution check SID in FMS, QNH 1015, monitor 121705, add report ready. All right. Wilco. Send. All right. Neat. I've never used that before on this. It's nice to see it works. It works really well. I love it. Okay. And the airplane is ready for us to start checking, so let's go ahead and start with an overhead. Actually, nope, before we do that, what am I thinking? Before we do that, let's just go back to, so he got that. That's good. That's good. That worked. The ATSU menu and AOC, let's just do a flight init now because the ACARS are, or not the ACARS, the IRSs are initialized. Taking longer than I thought to get going here, but that's okay. We're going to still have fun today anyways. And let's go ahead and get the secondary. So initialization, request secondary, nav accuracy upgrade, GPS primary. And there we go. So secondary flight plan uplink. And let's just have a look at the secondary flight plan. Nosli Tonsa Abama Ungav. And I don't even know. I don't recall what we filed. I kind of picked the route off of sim brief. Alabama Ungav Galma. Okay, that looks like it's kind of the right route, and it's going all the way to LIMC. So let's go ahead and go secondary, activate. It sounds like we got another message. Close that message. And clearance confirmed. Perfect. Just press it once. Like, it starts flashing at me, and I think like I have to press it again. Gotta press just once. Oh well. We'll get used to these things eventually. Okay, so we got all the stuff ready in the box here, so let's just start on the overhead panel. That's just the jet bridge. Just disregard that. For all the systems that work well together, every once in a while you get something that kind of doesn't work, like the jet bridge clips into the flight deck, and you just ignore it. You just gotta kind of accept it for what it is. But all right, we'll say first flight of the day. All right, she already tested the APU. Second fire test. Red lights, fire enunciation, fire enunciation. All right, hydraulics are good. Fuel tanks, are we done fueling? Looks like we are. 9.8, and is that what we needed? Let's just double check. It is, and let's just see. We got nothing in the center tank, so center tanks don't need to go on. So just the wing tanks, center tank pumps are staying off today. Electrical page. All right, batteries are showing off. looking for less than 60 amps within 10 seconds, and they go pretty much to 7 right away, which is good. All right, external power's on for now. That's fine. Hopefully it's not getting too warm in the cabin. Not going to start the APU yet. We'll pretty much wait until we're almost ready to do the briefing here, and then we'll probably start it. Fueling is done. Nothing on the top right side. Coming all down here. That's out. Nothing there. And let's do it this way here, because I need to open up the compass, because it's going to be a compass check kind of day. All right. And that's 5,000 feet is already set per the clearance. All right, nothing on there unusual. 1349 is good. 15, that's good date. Yeah, it's good date at all. Yeah, all right. I'll pull this up. Hopefully the frequency's not
on the
too
ground.
loud.
Good afternoon from the 804, just after Yankee 06, ready for taxi to that.
Lufthansa 804 on the ground, stand 10.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off just because I find that's going to probably be a distraction more than anything else for now. Normally I'd want to monitor him, but just don't want it to be overly distracting. So it's a nice pedestal view they've got set up here. You can really see everything on the pedestal well, except for the fact that you can't see the pressurization screen. So we got to go pressurization. Auto 700 feet sounds good. Status page just got Cat 2 and up on it, which will usually go when we start the engines. And then what I can do is, oops, don't do that. No, don't do that. Just do this. That's what I'm trying to do. All right. Make sure those are working. Those are all in the right positions. That's good. 21.5 is good for now on guard. We're not going to listen to guard for the time being. I'm going to turn you off just because I want control on the number 1 panel. Number 1, I can go auto. We got the transponder code already set. It's all good. All right, and a quick flight instrument cross check. So we got 1 FT2, altimeters, QNH 1015 showing 100 feet, 1015 showing 100 feet, 1015 showing 100 feet. And field elevation is, let's see here. What am I looking for field elevation? I don't even know field elevation here. Okay, really quickly here. 138 feet, so that's reasonable. All right, and the heading is 068, 068, 068. And then, nope, I'll find it here sooner or later. There's a good view of the FCU. And then I can look right here at the compass. 068. That's what I was really trying to do that whole time. It's just getting the hang of ChasePlane. Once you get the hang of it, it really is quite useful. 068, 068. All right. Into the box. Quick setup here for our flight today. So we got the A320-200 with the V2527 Alpha 5 IAE engines. Database has just been updated today. It's current starting on the 15th of May. No performance factor. We're going to leave it at +0. And position monitor, selected nav aids. I've got nothing to detune at this time. I'm going to clear that check takeoff data message. Initialization for, again, SAS 2689, Scandinavian 2689, going from Stockholm to Milan with an alternate of LIPE, and I don't even know what that is, but let's just check it against our flight plan. Alternate is LIPE. Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay, cost index, we're coming in at 5, cruising at 340 initially with a deviation of +2. So 5, 340 initially, and a deviation of +2. So from -50, that becomes -48. All right, and leaving Stockholm, departure, runway 08. Nosli 5 Lima, I want to say it was. Nosli 5 Lima, there it is. Nosli 5 Lima, insert that, and then the estimated arrival, planned arrival right now, we'll program in the planned arrival, is 35 right, Rixov 3 Echo. I don't know the differences. I'm going to just select one. ILS Zulu 35 right. Once we get it going, we'll fix it. Rixov 3 Echo. Insert that. Not quite ready to close yet, so. Okay, so that's all in there. We're going to check the flight plan after the... I'm just going to have to slide this over here to do it, but after the no sleep 5 Lima, it's November 8:50 to Abama. Direct ungav, direct mag, M736 to Galma, direct Ibaga, direct DKB, direct Atago, November 869 to Nator, direct Diton, direct Basgo Z424 to Rixov, where we start the arrival into LIMC. All right, where we end at 35 right. So that all looks good. Departures, auto tune is fine. Secondary recopy, and let's do an immediate return onto an ILS. So we'll do it after no sleep here. We'll just set up an immediate return onto one left, which is the active arrival runway, just in case we need it for any reason here. ILS 1, say one left or one right? We have on the 8 is here. We had ILS 1 left. That actually makes more sense. Doesn't need to cross one right that way. All right. No start required for that. Just straight into it if we absolutely need the emergency return. Initialization Bravo page. Taxi point 2 seems very reasonable. If anything, it'll be less than that. Route reserve of 0. Alternate off my flight plan here. I'm just looking at it quickly. Alternate is coming in at 1.6. Final reserve of 1.1. So 1.6, 1.1. And if we go over here, we should have a final load sheet. That's what I was looking for. So pre-departure clearance, all those messages came in. We got them all. And load sheet 58.2 over 32. 58.2. Let's land 32. Block fuel is 9 point, we'll call it 9.9 really. We're not going to run the APU for very long, not like North America where they just run them forever and nobody cares. In Europe they care. They will fine you. 67.9. Takeoff numbers we did were for 68.2, so that works. Trip wind, just for a calculation here. Average wind of plus 57. Good strong tailwind behind us the whole day. And should come in with 215, 5.5. 221, 5.3 is pretty reasonable. And extra fuel of 1.9. So I've got 20 minutes of ATC, 10 minutes of weather. So that's 8, that's 1.2. That's about 1.5 with the extra fuel not in the burn. 1.7. Yeah, okay, then we're basically a rounding error at that point. All right, so we're going to go back and get the real wins downloaded from the ACARS and performance. We're just going to load this straight from the tablet. Send to the MCDU, so we should be flaps 2, down point 2, 63 degrees. Flaps 2, down point 2, 63 degrees. And 39, 41, 44. 39, 41, 44. And 16, 10, 16, 10, 11, 10 across the bottom. 216, the green dot speed. I'll select that for the climb, and then we'll accelerate at 3,000 feet. Wind data uplink is in. So let's just check the wind data page. Oops. Wind data page here. So we got blue for the climb, blue for the cruise, blue for the descent phase, so they're all active winds. Prog page says 34, optimal's 35, max at 37.5, so that's fine. LIMC distance check, so we got GPS primary, nav accuracy is high, the RNP is auto, and LIMC 903 miles, and my total distance, great circle distance is 904, so that's good. And finally, data position monitor, everything's naviging at 0.5, that's all good. We've already got the PDC. So fuel is just a quick check here. We are boarded, balanced, and recorded. Load, we've got the finals in and the logbooks on board. We are ready for a quick briefing.
A very warm welcome to you all. My name is Jasmine and I'm your cabin.
So the first thing I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to, how does that work? Yes, she's much quieter than I am, so it's good. You can hear her, but I'm definitely outlasting her. Okay, so we're going to do a quick check of the routing here, and then we'll get ready to go. So, Nosely, I don't think that's the right SID. We were cleared Nosely 5, Lima. Nosely 5, Lima off of 8. So climb 070 track. Alright, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to put that in plan mode so you can see the plan there in the corner. And I'm going to scroll through it on my FMS here while looking at this screen. Just let me grab my tablet, which locked itself. Alright, so climb track 070 to SA412, 600 feet plus. SA424, 205 knots, 2500 plus. Yes, SA857, SA851, and then a left turn to SA724 to get to Nosely. 724, and then to Nosely. And that all looks good. Yeah, that's us. We're RNAV equipped, so that's fine. Alright, so the technical status of the aircraft today, there's no faults on the aircraft and no NOTAMs affecting departure. What I think I'm going to do is we'll take the time for just a second now and start the APU now. I think we're about 5 minutes away. Yeah, so NOTAMs should have a quick look here. I want to get this flight going here, but should be proper about it. Poor daylight markings on runway 826. Center line's lighted. Uniform. A couple of taxiway closures. It's actually really not that many, all things considered. Whiskey, uniform. So Whiskey, uniform golf, uniform fox, Mike, Zulu, Zulu Mike. Just curious where all those fall. Hopefully nowhere where we're taxiing here. Zulu, between Zulu Tango and Whiskey. Oh, here we are. Zulu between Whiskey and, I don't know where Zulu Tango is. I might need the apron chart here. There we go, Zulu Tango. Okay, Whiskey to Zulu Tango. There we go. Okay, so nothing that's really along our route. Perfect, because we got a pretty easy route today. All right, so the departure today is the Nosely 5 Lima departure off of runway 08. Max 250 knots below flight level 100. The transition altitude is 5,000, and the routing constraints are otherwise all as published. I should just double check in the box that the transition altitude, oops, is correct here. Transition altitude is 5,000. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, noise abatement for departure. We're going to perform a noise to departure. I'm not sure if they actually have anything listed for the departure phase. Departure clearance may be requested. Pushback taxiing. Noise abatement. NADB2 is recommended for all SIDs. That's what we're doing. And company 1010 pages, nothing of interest. Engine out, we'll just simply proceed straight ahead up to at least 3,000 feet. Yeah, performance in the box for the takeoff today off runway 08, dry runway left seat departure, no takeoff, shift flaps 2, and a flex of 63 degrees, V1 139, VR 141, V2 144, standard transition and 1610 across the bottom for the noise. Actually, no, sorry. We should be doing 1110, 1110, 1110 for the noise to departure. We'll just hard tune them all. 216, the green dot speed is pre-selected for the climb. It's going to be a managed departure. We've got climb blue and nav blue. We'll get the autopilot on shortly after departure. It is an RNAV departure, and we are dealing with active ATC. Beyond that, let's see here. The RadNav page is auto-tuned. Secondary's got the immediate return onto 1 left, and the fuel prediction says we are going to be taking off a little bit above max landing weight, so immediate return we're going to have to land flaps 3 and packs off unless we have time to read the checklist. And I realize, of course, that I didn't actually start this. Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go ahead.
Let's just have a real quick look here. Pushback required. It's config 2 for takeoff. Thrust is reduced. Takeoff runway is 08. And let's just check this against my... Oops. Slowly getting the hang of this. Let's see here. 139, 141, 144. Grab those correctly. 63 degrees. Cruising at 30. I think 34,000 initially. Thrust reduction 1,000. Transition altitude 5,000. 32%. Close enough. Start engines 1 and 2. Signals taxi out. Okay. I think we're all good. Any questions?
No questions.
All right. I think we got everything. We got the final load numbers. We could probably be good to close here. Let me just make sure again. I did take off the external power. Yes, so let's go ahead and put the beacon on just to signal the FS2 crew to start doing stuff here. Oh, they've already got the bridge off.
Locking gear.
Guess they're ready to go. Pre-flight checklist. Cockpit preparation checklist.
Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Fuel quantity.
9,900 kilograms.
Seatbelts.
On.
ADIRS.
Nav.
Barrow ref.
1015. QNH 1015. QNH 1015.
1015 set. Cockpit preparation checklist completed.
Before start checklist.
Parking brake.
Set.
Takeoff speeds and thrust.
V1139, VR141, V2144. Flexing 63 degrees. V1139, VR141, V2144. Flexing 63 degrees. Flexing 63 degrees.
V1139, VR141, V2144. Flex temp 63 degrees. Windows.
Closed.
Beacon.
On.
Before start checklist completed.
08 is not standard, but if you can use 08, then I'll give you 08.
Yes, that's okay for switching 1752.
Okay.
Atlanta ground, very good day. Eurings 955, stand 5 of DCL clearance, request person sound.
Euro wings and 9055, pushback startup approved.
Person sound approved, Eurings 955.
Atlanta ground, good afternoon. Scandinavian 2689. Gate Foxtrot 39. With the clearance, ready for push and start.
Scandinavian at 2689 on the ground, pushback and startup approved.
Pushback and startup approved, 2689, thank you.
Atlanta ground, Scandinavian 39er Charlie, gate 6. We picked up information echo, we're ready to push.
Scandinavian at 39er Charlie, pushback and startup is approved. Caution company pushing from across the alley.
Push and start approved, and we'll keep an eye on the company traffic from across the alley, Scandi 39er Charlie.
All right, I had a hard time hearing him. Let me know if you, how you...
Release parking brakes.
There you go. I heard that a little better. I'm just going to check.
Takeoff runway. Takeoff runway confirm. Approach path clear of traffic.
All on the ground, the Easy Mike
Cabin
1
crew
Charlie
be
is
seated
ready
for
for
takeoff.
Cancel checklist.
Easy Mike 1 Charlie, pushback and setup approved.
All right.
Pushback is not approved. Easy Mike 1 Charlie.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
I think I might turn down the VATSIM just a little bit. I think it's a little bit high. All right, here we go. We got our first flight in Europe. Let's actually just double check that this is tracking us. It does know what we're doing here. Go to the dashboard and just make sure, not the dashboard, but the flight, just make sure it is tracking our flight here as we start to push back. The other thing is I've got one more tracker I've got to get going here. And this is not even running, so. All right. It does seem to know where we are. It looks like it is showing some movement there, so I think it is working. So we are going to go ahead and starting engine 2. Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Starting engine 2.
Okay.
And just while that starts, if you can just monitor that start for a second, I just have to do one thing here, which is to just set up my secondary flight tracker to make sure this is all working here. Give it a couple seconds here. It does look like it is turning, so that's good.
Set parking brakes.
Stand by. Okay, second flight tracker's on. And fuel should be flowing. Yeah, fuel's flowing. EGT's rising. Yeah, we got the PSI, oil rising. All right. 1, 2, 3. Brakes are set. Confirm the pins are moved. See, those jet bridges are so distinctive there. All right, so we heard the power transfer. We see the avail. We see the gray light go out on the N2. Starting engine 1.
Okay.
Okay. She seems very enthused by this. All right, N2's rising. This time we'll monitor a little more closely here. N2's rising. We are showing oil pressure increasing.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Thank you.
Left
All right, there's
corner.
ignition A and fuel flow, and we get light off on the IAE.
You're in command of a 5, you're ready for
Here comes N1 increase.
0 wings 955, squawk 6540.
Just waiting to see the guy or girl with the pin. Oh, here they come. All right, so there goes the tug. There's the pin. The nose wheel steering is showing disconnected. Thank you. I do see the pin. Goodbye. All right.
0 wings 955, taxi holding point to runway 08.
Thanks for holding point runway 08, you're in command of a 5.
All right, and it looks like a good start on number 2. After start checklist.
Anti-ice.
Line of ground,
Off.
Scandy 39er Charlie, ready to taxi.
Scanner Navy at 39er Charlie, taxi holding point to runway
Checked.
08, hold short
Pitch
of
trim.
Zulu.
Taxi holding point 08, hold short of Zulu, Scandy 39er Charlie.
0.3 nose down. Blank percent set. 32% set.
Rudder trim.
Neutral.
After start checklist completed.
Flight control check.
Ready. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Taxi checklist.
Flight controls.
checked.
Skinner Navy
Check.
at 39er
Left
Charlie
setting.
after the Eurowings A320 from left to right to continue.
Config 2.
Config.
After the Eurowings left to right, we'll continue taxi, Candy 39er Charlie.
Eurowings 955, contact tower 118.505.
118.575, units 955.
Repeat last.
Radar and predictive wind shear system.
On and auto.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
ECAM memo.
Skinner Navy at 39er Charlie, contact tower 118.505, hit up.
Takeoff no blue.
118.505, hit up.
It's completed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence the safety demonstration. Each aircraft may be different, so we'd appreciate your attention to the TV monitor closest to you.
Just going to set this frequency now. I think he said 18.5 for tower. And that way I'm good to go. 18.5. Let me just check the 18.505. And let me just pull up my charts because I'm unfamiliar, because I just got to be cautious and careful because I am unfamiliar with this whole thing. And just a quick reference check here. So for departures, taxiing from Terminal 2. That's not ready for me to take off during taxi SFI's tower. Flight deck.
The cabin is now secure for takeoff.
Thank you. Along the ground, Scandinavian 2689, ready for taxi.
Skinner Navy at 2689, taxi holding point to runway 08.
Taxi holding point 08, Scandinavian 2689. Clear left side.
Still right side.
Brake check.
Pressure 0.
All on the ground, easy Mike 1 Charlie, ready for taxi.
All right.
Going at Charlie, are you able to make the right turn on Uniform Bravo?
A firm, easy Mike 1 Charlie.
Easy Mike 1 Charlie, taxi holding point to runway 08, Uniform Bravo, Uniform Yankee, and X-ray.
Uniform Bravo, uniform Yankee, and X-ray. Easy Mike 1 Charlie.
Skinner Navy at 2689er, contact tower 118.505.
Tower 118.505, Scandinavian 2689. All right, here's the holding point of 08. That was quick and easy.
Skyline 39, Charlie, wind 350 degrees, 17 knots, maximum 25 knots, minimum 8 knots, left turn departure, runway 08, clear for takeoff.
Left turn departure 08, clear for takeoff, Candy 39er Charlie.
Airwings 955, shortly leaving my airspace, frequency change approved. Have a nice flight.
Frequency change approved, units 955, thank you.
Scandinavian 2689, holding point 08.
Skyline 2689, line up runway 08 and wait.
Line up holding runway 08, Scandinavian 2689. Runway entry procedure.
Takeoff runway confirmed. Approach path clear of traffic. Cabin crew be seated for takeoff.
Does seem to be a little bit of a hill here almost getting up to this runway. I like it when they actually do model the hills that actually exist.
Skyline 2689, wind 350 degrees, 17 knots, maximum 25 knots. Runway 08, left turn departure, clear for takeoff.
Left turn departure, runway 08, clear for takeoff, Scandinavian 2689.
Skyline 39, Charlie, short, leaving my space, frequency change approved.
Cleared for
Zero.
departure.
Frequency change approved, Candy 39er Charlie, hit 'em.
Clear of traffic.
Lineup checklist.
Cabin crew be seated for takeoff. Takeoff runway.
Runway 08 confirmed.
Runway 08 confirmed. TCAS.
TARA
Packs 1 and 2.
on.
Lineup checklist completed.
All right, here we go. Manflex 63 SRS runway auto thrust blue.
Checked. Thrust set. .100 knots.
Roger.
V1. Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Nav. Autopilot 1. Climb, alt blue. Thrust climb, auto thrust.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
Oh, that was going to be the next thing I was going to say. It wasn't what I actually said, but yes, that was the next thing I was going to say was flaps 1. Flap 0.
Speed check. Flap 0.
So we do have this 205 knot speed limit at SA-424, so I'm keeping it at 205 knots, which is unfortunately making this very close to the hook there.
1,000 to go.
Let's put level the wings. Do a little bit better. Speed, Alt Star. Busy little airport down there. And very nice scenery, I do have to say. I was very impressed with it. It looks really good. And Arlanda Tower, Scandinavian 2689. Are we okay to switch to the on-route frequency now?
Scandinavian at 2689, this is Arlanda ground.
Oh, I don't know how it switched. Don't know how that switched. And Arlanda Tower, sorry about that. Scandinavian 2689 got switched to a different frequency. Are we okay to switch to the Unicom anyways now?
1228.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
I don't know how that switched to ground again. Probably my first officer probably did it when I wasn't looking. I would expect. All right, so I'm pretty sure our cruise is 34. So there's flight level 340 set. There's thrust climb, alt blue. We've passed the speed restriction, so we're also going to manage the speed at this point. And full speed, away we go down to Milan, Italy. And there's the transition altitude of 5,000.
Standard cross check. Passing flight level 055.
All right.
Now.
And I wish it would stop doing that. This is not the first time I've seen this. I've seen other people suffer from this. Frequencies automatically switching and swapping and changing now. I thought I had fixed this. Now this was actually a little bit self-induced. There was a real problem with frequency changes. that came hand in hand with ChasePlane. So, and I almost forgot about this because it took me a few days to kind of figure this stuff out, and then I kind of figured it out and moved right along from it. Didn't think again too much about it, but yeah. Basically, what I did was something I did before. Pardon me, which was for all of my ChasePlane groups, I set different key numbers. So these numbers over here are the actual these are actually the keys that you would hit to get to these views. So it kind of is a quick little reminder of what the views are. So some views have more than one button that can get you there. Some of them are part of a group where each time you hit the number, it just goes to the next camera in the group. So I use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the keyboard to kind of do the majority of stuff. One for the pilot, co-pilot view, and it just cycles back and forth because these are the only two views. For number 2, it goes through all the instruments kind of in order. And I've got a few other shortcut keys to get me to the places I want to be, but this is number 2. Number 3 is stuff in the cabin. I don't like any of these views really, but anyways, we'll talk about that. Anyways, so what I discovered inadvertently is that even though I wasn't using it anymore, the ATC system that exists by default in MSFS, and I don't think it's even on my menu here, but the default ATC system, it uses the number keys to select different options as your as it's presenting you. It's the ATC system in MSFS is a menu-based system. So, contact tower, request taxi, request takeoff clearance. Then you hit different numbers to do different things, switch frequencies and things like that. I didn't know that those numbers are always listing in the background, and even if you don't have the ATC menus up, Microsoft Flight Simulator is still running that ATC system in the background, and so all those numbers are actually key bindings in the control scheme. So when I set all these to be key bindings within ChasePlane, I didn't realize that they were still bound to the number keys to select ATC stuff in MSFS. So when I was pressing all these buttons, pressing 1, 1, 2, 2 to get through all these different things, it was selecting potentially menu items, and occasionally that would be a frequency swap, would be menu item number 1. So all of a sudden I'd look down and be like, why is my frequency changed again? And again, and again, and I couldn't figure it out. ChasePlane was changing my frequencies. ChasePlane wasn't doing it. It was the numbers I had programmed into ChasePlane that were still actually active numbers elsewhere in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you've got to be very careful about that with these key bindings. These key bindings are fantastic, but you've got to make sure that the key bindings are not performing some other task in MSFS. If they are, that's going to be a problem for you. All right. I think that background now is actually quite quiet. All right, so we did transition already. We got through 10,000, so we'll just make sure lights are out. Seatbelts off.
1,000 to go.
Seatbelts off. All right, so she did that. She also adjusted my altitude, but I'm back to flight level 340 with a thrust climb all blue. And we're climbing out here. It's a pretty nice day in Europe, so I'm going to go ahead and put terrain on ND just to get some kind of reference as we're traveling here. Might put airports up there as well. So we are following other traffic out of here, but not too much. And we are en route. Let's just have a quick little scroll around the flight deck. Make sure I didn't miss anything stupid, because I might. You never know. And I wonder if there's any ATC online in our destination yet as well. So I'm just going to have a look at my other screen really quickly. VATSIM radar. Hey, VATSIM radar. Let's see here. Where's Milan? There we are. No ATC down there yet. Anyways, it's still it's not bad. It's middle of the afternoon in Europe, so It looks like Stockholm. Stockholm last time I flew there too was a test, and there was ATC online. So there's lots of ATC online in Europe, even during the afternoons. But anyways, yeah, ChasePlane. It just what a change! What a complete and total change! And it does. It completely replaces the existing camera views. Once you install ChasePlane, unless you uninstall it, you can't use the default camera settings. But it's such a much more powerful tool. I can't even begin, and there's been lots of kind of demonstrations, but I would love to demonstrate some of the stuff that's available. So first of all, it does detect what airplane you're in. So the very first thing it does once you load up an airplane, it detects what airplane you're in. So each airplane has a separate set of cameras. So whatever airplane you're in, you don't have to necessarily start right away setting up cameras. It's going to what it'll do is it'll load the default kind of camera views that were originally in the MSFS camera system and assign them all, and then you can just add more. There's no limit to how many camera views you can add to this. You can have an unlimited number of cameras, internal, external, however many you want to have. The only limit being just how fast you scroll through them and change. But there's just so many good features of this. So of course there are 3 categories of cameras: internal cameras, external cameras, and world cameras, which I'm always a little afraid to click on, because once you kind of get far away, because your camera is relocated to this point here where like the tower is, then all of a sudden Microsoft starts to forget stuff around where your airplane actually is when you're that far away. So that could be a little bit problematic, but there's lots of good cameras here. There's a flyby camera that just by default just keeps on showing you just random flybys. Just different angles, different shots. It just goes by time and time again. Really simple, neat stuff. But your tower view, I demonstrated that right at the start. You can even show the nearest runway, nearest parking, different airports that are nearby, all sorts of stuff. The external views are pretty obvious. They're chase camera kind of views. You can have ones that are bolted to your airplane. You can have one that are, cinematic distance ones. You can have there's your standard spot view, the only difference being that it does a much better job, unlike the default Microsoft Flight Simulator camera, much better job of keeping the airplane itself in the center of the field of view when you're using the spot view. So much nicer. You can still zoom in and out. I disabled the scroll wheel because I found the one problem with the scroll wheel as a zoom is that whenever you're trying to scroll something like one of these knobs here, if you're not on the knob, if you scroll slightly, if you move the mouse so you're slightly off the knob and you're still scrolling, now instead you're zooming in and out. So it won't scroll when you're actually moving a knob, but if you're just off just a little bit, it was constantly scrolling. The ones that I found were annoying were things like the lights here where you scroll it up and down because it's a multi-position switch. And if you're just not quite on it, if you're right here and you start scrolling up and down, I have it disabled right now, but this would make the zoom change. I'm moving the scroll wheel right now, the zoom would constantly change. So if it slipped off slightly, the zoom would change and you'd be constantly resetting it. So I found that to be very annoying. So that was one thing that I did turn off. But I mean, that's the thing. There's options. Different people run the software a different way. The great thing about this is it's got the flexibility that you need. As well as your typical internal, external cameras, you've also got cinematics, which is a wonderful tool that is now back. So this is this was a big feature of the original ChasePlane, is that it just, once you go into cinematics mode, it just randomly shows you cinematic views. So it just picks an area, just gently scrolls past the aircraft, all sorts of different things. On the ground, it can do different things. It'll show you taxiing and different things. But especially when you step away from it, you can turn on auto cinematics. So after 5 minutes of no activity in the flight deck, boom, it starts to switch to these external views randomly if you move the mouse when you're in it. So I turned it on specifically. But if it goes on automatically, the second you do anything in the Microsoft Flight Simulator window, scroll or try to touch a control, even just move the mouse a little bit, it'll turn off the auto cinematics. So that I find is really neat. And you can set the length of the auto cinematic pans as well. Just so many good features. But I've always liked that. I've always thought it looked really good when you were doing. When you're doing streaming and you step away for 5 minutes, it's a great way to kind of see the airplane and provide something with a little bit more interest than just watching the scenery scroll by from one fixed angle. So as a streamer especially, This is just, it's phenomenal. And if you don't like the current cinematic view, you can always just click this button, go to the next one, pick another one, generate another one, generate another one. Wow, as long as you like it. So really neat. This little menu bar here is great. So you can turn cinematics on and off really easily. You can also switch either which of your 3 main sets, internal, external, world, or which view you're looking at within that set. Really quickly and easily, just little mouse clicks. It's you know, I find myself using the buttons more, but like to me, the sign of good software development is options. There's not just one way to do things. Software should be intuitive. There should be multiple ways to do things. You shouldn't be limited to just doing it just the way one person who developed the software viewed it. They should be ready and willing to entertain, hey, someone else might think about doing it this way. Let's make sure that the interface can adapt to them, the way they want to use it. That's what makes good software, is software that flexes with the user and adapts and allows the user to do things in multiple different ways, doesn't fix them to just one way. Poor software often lets people do things just one way. So within all these cameras, we also have what are called groups. So ChasePlane has created their groups, and they're color coded here. So you can kind of see on the list here, we've got these blue and then these kind of like pale green, pale aqua ones here. You've got this blue, green, red, purple. So all of these represent your different groups. So if you go to the menu, you can see the different groups that are available. The different groups make it very easy to change the properties of a whole bunch of cameras at the same time, and group them together into logical sets so that you can also scroll through them very quickly. So most of the default ones I haven't really done too much. I haven't done too much with them, but I have added 1 or 2 groups. But so most of these are the default. So pilot is human and smooth. So like, let's just look at the settings to kind of get an idea. So the idea of human versus mounted. So like human being kind of is a camera that can move around. If the airplane accelerates suddenly or there's turbulence, the camera will shake and move with the turbulence as if someone is riding it out. Whereas a fixed mounted camera, it's fixed to that airplane. No matter how that airplane moves, that camera moves with it. Whereas with the human, there's kind of a reaction, a damping. As the turbulence moves, your head kind of bobs up and down, but not at the same rate. It kind of takes out some of that. So you can decide that. You can assign a shortcut to all the views in a group, which is what I've done. 1 through 9 are the different groups of views, so I can quickly get to different views. You can determine whether head tracking's on, and I have to say the track IR look works really nice. One thing I'm kind of getting used to it, I'm not sure if I like it yet, but the track IR is really good. For example, it's on or off for certain views. So if it's off for certain views, then as soon as you go to that view, the track IR stops tracking and it's fixed. So just to use an example, you know, I'm looking around the flight deck or whatever here, and now I want to go and look at the MCDU. So I press the button to look at the MCDU. It's fixed, no matter how much I move my head. Even though track IR is tracking and it's on, this is a fixed non-head tracking view, so it stays no matter how much I try to look around, which I think for a lot of these instrument views, that is a real advantage. So for certain camera angles, absolutely. For the flight deck view, you want to be able to move around. For the pilot view, you want to be able to move around. But for a lot of these fixed instrument views, you don't. So that's great. Transition in and out, same as before. And you can set up options for the transition, how long it takes, 2 seconds for the transition to complete from one view to the next. Oops, within the same group. Yeah, that sort of thing. So we've got different options. So we've got for fixed, let's see here, for pilot instruments, for fixed stuff. Oh, did I not scroll down and see even more? So there's other stuff available here too. So camera physics, so how firm you want this. There's presets, or you can actually adjust it, give it a numerical value. So yeah, floaty is for external cameras. It kind of it slowly dampens any movements of the airplane. Smooth is basically for pilots, so anything that happens does get kind of smooth, but it is still fairly fixed to the airplane. Stiff is like a camera that's maybe mounted to the airplane, and rigid is like really like hard mounted, like nothing will move this camera away from the airframe. So you can create different things, how fast the intensity is, the touchdown effects, motion effects, how much there's a little bit of a vibration, or even breathing. If you sit here really quietly with track IR off, you'll notice even some of these human views, they do just kind of move up and down just a little bit. It's really hard to see it. really hard to see. You really have to look. But just a little bit of breathing, and you can really emphasize that. So this, you know, it's off for the instrument groups, but for the pilot view, breathing would be on. So let's edit that. Pilot view breathing is on, and I could emphasize, and I could probably It's hard to tell what's breathing, what's turbulence, but can I do 5? Is that too much? So now you can really kind of see that if you look kind of at the edges here, you can really see that's kind of scrolling in and out of view. It's breathing. You know, that's just very subtle stuff. Look ahead. So if you're not doing anything else, the camera will slightly look in the direction you're going to move in. If you start a turn or something like that, and anticipation, things like that, follow the horizon. So neat stuff. And then at the bottom, there's a list of name suggestions. So when you create a new camera within this group, these are some of the name suggestions that'll be offered. So you can create a whole list of name suggestions that'll be commonly offered under this group. So groups are really useful. These are universal across all the airplanes. You know, here's my passenger cabin views. So even as the airplane banks, you can see I'm kind of keeping myself somewhat upright here. I don't like these, but anyways. Yeah, so the camera groups really, the nice thing is camera groups lets you change a whole bunch of stuff. It organizes your cameras, first of all, and it lets you change stuff really quickly. So you can assign a key to each camera group, which is what I've tried to do as much as possible, because I think that really makes it very useful. So then once you get within each view, the amount of stuff you can do with it, I don't want to mess with that view because I like that view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of these views that I don't like. I don't like this view. I really don't. So we can mess with it anyway. So once you go into edit it, you can adjust the camera, and the camera controls are pretty phenomenal. Just like the original version of ChasePlane, like you can literally do anything. And it's really nice the way that window kind of fades out, and then and you only see the knob that you care about. So up or down, and of course zoom, pan. You can even change how fast the stuff moves, so how fast you want to get from point A to point B. Pan, whatever. It's obviously terrible. I don't want to do this. Don't save. So now we can go back to the original here. But you can't, but the adjustments, like you can make it so nice and fine with these little joystick adjustments. It really is something quite, you can just ever so slightly move it forward, or you can really give her if you really want to get somewhere in a hurry, or you can just make the finest little adjustments. So it's really extremely nice. Maybe roll slightly, that's weird. But the point being, it may be a little weird, but whatever you want to do, you can do it. So we'll go back to this. So within each camera, you can actually adjust all this stuff. You can assign a button to each camera, or make it, or just inherit the button view for the camera. So a lot of views, you'll see how I've kind of designed this, but to make it really easy to jump around the flight deck. Skip when cycling views. So if there's views in your list and you don't want this one to be in the views when you're going through all the views in the list, you can turn it on to skip it using Smart View. I'll show you what Smart View means in a minute, because that's also really neat. And then you can change which group it actually, each camera belongs to. You can also import stuff really easily, whether it be from the community. So it's going to search and say, here's everything that anybody has ever uploaded for Fenix 320 IAE. And you can search for it you can filter it, obviously, if you want to just see internals or externals, or whatever you want to see. And then you can see a sample of it. So this is the sample. You can, if you want to select this one as one you're going to import, then you actually check the box. But just to see it, you can click a button. Click the button just to see it. And if you like it, add it to your list. If you don't like it, don't add it to your list. So I'm going to add a couple here. These are for my cabin view. So now if I go back to my list, you'll see that I now have a couple more on my cabin list. So this one here and this one here are now on my cabin list. This one is actually a track IR enabled view. The passenger cabin, all of them are track and IR enabled, so you can actually look out the window, which is kind of nice. It's neat. And the neat thing is when you turn off track IR, no matter where you're looking, it resets. I don't know if that's an advantage because I'm so used to kind of freezing track IR in a certain location. But I mean, that's what ChasePlane is for, is you can create a new view and save it in that location. So it took me a little getting used to. If you pause track IR, it goes back to completely total neutral. I find that a little odd. Definitely took some getting used to. I see the advantage of it. It's kind of nice, but I'm not 100% sold on that yet. It would be kind of nice as an option. Parallel 42, I don't know if you're listening, but it'd be great if you'd consider that as an option. What if you made that an option, either per view or globally, that pausing track IR freezes you in your current location or the default position for the camera. You can really kind of see the breathing going on sitting back here, or it might be just the turbulence in the airplane. So not only can you, of course, import from your community, but you can also import from other places. So import default aircraft views, 10 configured views, or more importantly, you can find similar aircraft. So I added a couple to this that I really liked. So let's use an example here. So so import from my Fenix 320 CFM, and let's scroll down the list here because the one I like is this one, cabin from galley. This is kind of the way pilots usually see the cabin, is they come out in the galley, not from mid. Not this mid cabin thing is kind of weird. This is almost more of a normal way a pilot sees a cabin. So I like this view, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the box and I'm going to import this selected view into my current airplane. So now, if you look at the very bottom, here's cabin from galley. So now it's part of my internal cabin views. The nice thing is you can also grab anything and just grab and hold it and put it in your list wherever you want. So if you want this to be the first thing anybody in the cabin sees. So now if I go back to flight deck 1 and press 3, it is now the first thing. And if I press 3 again, then we go to this cabin view and so on down through this view. I don't know if I like all of these, but they're a little weird. I'm not sure I really like these views too much. And you can mess with them. That's the nice thing, is you can mess with them, you can save them, you can share them if you like what you've done. You can share any view you want with the community. So there's a community page here as well. And you can basically you can share anything you want from any of your aircraft, any of the views you created. So community views, sorry, I think this is the wrong way. I think I'm going about this the wrong way. I think you have to go in here. So let's say I want to do this, cabin from galley. How do I share this? Share view. Share this view with others on the community. So now turn that on. You can see a little thing circling here. So now it's uploaded that, and now it's gone back to, now that's part of the community. Now other people can see that view and can load it as well. If I go through here, my content, anyways. Oh yeah, if I go into each airplane too, that's how you can do it. That's how you do it. So I've shared these views before, and I've also shared this view with the community. So you can make them, they're all private right now, or you can choose to make them public. So I like those. I like those views. I like this view. So the nice thing is the flexibility. You can do so much with it, and if you don't want to do a lot of work, you can go out into the community and go and access the community and load these. This was what was going to be kind of hidden behind the paywall, was the community access, just because. And I have to say I don't mind that. I'm not gonna go into that right now because it can take a little while to talk about. But then of course you've also got preferences. So you got all sorts of things. You can deal with dead zones with your devices. And it's even got little instructions here: avoid conflicts, see how, and actually takes you to a quick little demonstration of how to disable. The other neat thing about this is this is actually a locally hosted web page here. all of your assignments within ChasePlane are also accessible at any point on a web page, and you can print this if you wanted to remember what you've assigned. So if you want to have a quick cheat sheet of all the different key presses that are assigned in ChasePlane, instead of having to go through all the menus, if you click on this, there's one list here of everything, which is really great. I think that's fantastic. That's a really smart innovation, because there's so much in here, it's easy to forget, especially like all these keys. So you can move the cameras laterally. So once you're in a camera, you can move the cameras any way you want. So forwards and backwards. Flight deck, go down. All these things, obviously zooming in and out, pan, zoom, whatever you want to do. There's all sorts of different keys within each camera, and once you're happy with it, you can save this as a new view, or you can go back to the original view. So the cameras are so flexible. You can scroll through all the views. So again, if I have the list of views, if I press K, it goes through the whole list in order. Let's do it in the flight deck. Let's do this. K, 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 K. Or if you want to go backwards, then you press and hold Shift K. Now we're going backwards through everything instead of forwards. So many places for quick buttons. Really, you can design the system to work how you want. And as a streamer, I've got so many buttons on my side stick, and that's what I'm using them for now, is I'm using them all for the different camera views, because I think it makes it so easy to access things. There's specific mouse things we can do. Cinematics mode, so how long before auto start, like really great stuff. Enable ChasePlane when you're in slew mode or not. Reverse X or Y in the spot view. Ellipsoid and spot view on off. So ellipsoid instead of a perfect sphere. I like that. Motion in VR. We don't have VR, but there's some options for that. Initial binocular zoom. That's a neat thing. Let's see if I can do this here. What was it? Shift B. What did I do? Oh, I forget what the key press was for binoculars. That was a really neat feature though. Camera actions. Binoculars. How do I turn on binoculars? I totally forget. Where's my list of key presses? Because binoculars was a neat feature as well. Left control and B. So there you go. So now we've got, I'm just going to minimize that. And you can look around, but you can zoom in, and you can zoom in even more. To the point where I can't even, like, it's obviously very low quality textures we're flying over, but like at an airport, you can imagine you can zoom in quite nicely on another aircraft. So zoom in, the binocular function is a fun little function here. We had another little airplane out here somewhere, we could try and spot it with the binocular function here. So the binocular function, it's a neat little function. It's not something I would probably use all that often, but it could be certainly an entertaining option if you're following your buddy around or you want to zoom in on their aircraft. It's just a neat little way to kind of quickly zoom, quickly unzoom. I'd forgotten about the binocular function. I haven't really used it much, and I kind of wish I had. But you know, it is what it is. Everything's backed up to the cloud as well, so that's makes life a little easier. Reduce motions when stationary, so a bug in the simulator's physics can cause the camera to behave erratically when aircraft stationary on the ground. We can turn it off to turn this option on to get rid of that. Turn on or off all view transitions. Turn on or off transitions for each group of the control assignments. Oh, there's control assignments. Binoculars. Toggle. Control left, control B. There it is. So, and then yeah, everything is automatically backed up to the cloud. So if you move to a different computer, uninstall it and reinstall it, everything is still stored there under your account, which is, again, it's a great feature to have. The fact that, to me, this was one thing that bugged me was people made such a complaint that, oh, we're going to hide this behind a paywall. I'm like, the storage space is not free. Yes, it's probably pretty small. Most people are probably going to only fly a handful of aircraft, save a handful of views. You know, on average, each user is probably transmitting back and forth to the server a megabyte or two, you know, on a monthly basis, and you know, storing maybe a couple of megabytes worth of data, like very small amounts of data, because like essentially the camera views are all numerical values. They're a lot long with it, you know, they're a position in 3D space and an angle in 3D space and a zoom, and that's it. So like you can define it as a bunch of numbers. It's all it is. So yes, the camera views. I get the people that said, oh, it's a grab, like this is such a small amount of information. And yes, 100%, it's a small amount of information, but even a small amount of information, does cost money to store in perpetuity. It's not infinitely free. And we've just come to this idea, and it's not an accurate idea by any means, but we seem to have come to this idea that storing data online should be free, and it's not. Parallel 42, I'm sure, is not a huge company. They've put out some great products, and I'm sure they've made some decent revenue, but they're not a gigantic, multi-billion-dollar company where they're, you know, the cost of storing a few megabytes on a server and maintaining those servers and everything is lost in the overall revenues of a giant company. It's a relatively small organization. I'm sure that whatever online service they do use, whether it be Amazon or Azure or whatever, I'm sure it does cost money per megabyte to maintain data on there, cost money per megabyte to transfer data on and off those servers. Is it a significant amount? No. But is it reasonable to ask for a small annual amount to cover that? I don't think that's unreasonable. Especially because it's not essential to the functioning of the program. This program will work without cloud backups. I can turn them off anytime I want. And I'm not going to, because I like to have it. But you could. They let us turn it off. Likewise, the community, it's not essential to the product, really. The product itself really is the camera controls and the camera saves and the interactivity. The community is a benefit, but that benefit requires server space, bandwidth, data. It's not free. I don't think it was unreasonable for Parallel 42 to ask for a small subscription fee. I don't know what the fee was supposed to be. I would have said on the order of $3 to $5 a year, probably because the amounts of data. Again, even excepting maybe a few power users, most people on average are going to be downloading, and uploading and syncing very little data overall over the course of a year. Even people who open up the sim 3, 4, 5 times a week, if most of the time they're not changing the views. Once you get everything settled and you're happy with it, you're probably not going to add that many new views to your airplane. It'll become second nature after a while, and you won't do that much interacting with it after the kind of initial burst until you get a new airplane. And then you'll probably have a big burst again on the new airplane for a little while, setting up some new views on that. But overall, yes, I think the data usage would be very low. I think, again, just a reasonable cost, $3 to $5 a year. I probably would have paid that. I would have said, yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, if they're asking, $10 a month for storing that much data, I don't think that's worth it. Definitely, there's got to be a reasonable level, but this idea that companies should now Parallel 42 is kind of obligated to provide this infrastructure in perpetuity as part of the purchase price, and not not that they're necessarily making a lot of money off it, but certainly paying the bills with a subscription for the long run. And the fact that it was optional was the key to me. That was really the thing. It's optional. You don't have to pay it. All you lose is the cloud backup system, which if it's stored locally on your computer, you can easily create your own cloud backup. I back up everything on my computer myself, so those files are already backed to the cloud, whether I do it on Parallel 42 server or not, because they're backed up as part of being on my computer. Likewise, the community would have been the only big loss. But again, there would have been other ways. You could have easily exported it and exchanged it yourself with your friends if you really wanted to. These things are not free to maintain, and I was a little bit not gobsmacked, but just a little bit disappointed by the backlash. Here's a company putting out a great product, and they're just asking a small token if you want to use the online system. I don't think it would have materially. I think the bigger deal would have been the access to the community. But if you can, I think you can export your views anyways. I haven't actually looked into this, but I feel like there's a way that you can export your views just as a. Let's see if I can find one that I created here. Maybe not. Maybe there isn't. I thought there was. I thought you could export it, just save it as a file that you could send to somebody else, and they could import your view as well. Nope. Some ATC wants me. 123.22. Didn't even notice anybody logged on. 23.22. And I don't even know EDDW. ETWW Warsaw, maybe? Let's see here. I was looking at the destination and not where we are. It's EDWW.
Visit 3 Golf Bravo, Bremen radar identified. Proceed direct Hotel Lima Zulu.
Direct to Hotel Lima Zulu for 2 Golf Bravo.
And Bremen radar, good afternoon. Scandinavian 2689, flight level 340.
Scandinavian 2689, Bremen radar, hello, squawk 1000.
Squawk 1000, Scandinavian 2689. Let's just do this, because this is easier.
Ryanair 40,
And this is exactly what I made this for.
Bremen radar 119, just with 490.
There, squawking 1000 now.
Ryanair.
And I think we had some step climbs in this, so let's go back to our flight plan and just have a quick look here.
Break.
Now that ATC is making me think about what I'm doing here. Tedco 350, Basco 290. Tedco, how far down is Tedco?
030, clear for West approach, runway 06 left, Ryanair 141.
Tedco.
Ryanair 42 Delta, Bremen radar 119, just with 490.
119.490, Ryanair 432 Delta.
Tedco's still up ahead somewhere.
Are you doing 2 Mike Julia, just to confirm, is 230 your final level?
Final level would be 36.
Yeah, way after Alma, so it's a long way till we get to our step climb. Okay.
Thank you, I was wondering. Doing 2 Mike Julia,
one of the other really neat things that you can do with this, I'm going to pause my track IR for a second here. So there's something else really neat that I really like about ChasePlane that they built in called Smart View. And basically what Smart View is if you're in kind of your overall flight deck view, your pilot view, if you hold down the right and the left mouse button, oops, hold down extra buttons, but if you hold down the right and the left mouse button and scroll around, you can actually see the other views around your flight deck. And when any of these views are highlighted, if you let go of the buttons when you've highlighted those views, it takes you to that particular camera view. So let's say I'm sitting here and I want to make a quick adjustment to the radio panel, but I want to zoom into it. There's RMP and ACP. Boom. Now I'm in there, and then if you want to get back out of it, back to your default view, you just tap the right and left mouse buttons again. But really kind of a simple yet neat feature if you want to just see the overhead really quickly and easily. There's your overhead view. Very, very simple, but very... Right, then left. Circuit breaker wall. Anything you want to see. There's that THS actuator. Really kind of it doesn't work in all the views. So if you're already in one of the views, one of the instrument views, you can't do that. One of the smart views. All you can do is go back to your original non-smart view. Stop putting this stupid thing down. And then you can go back around and look more. So there are limitations to when it works, but nevertheless, what a smart little feature. You want to zoom in on the main panel. Oops.
2355, frame rate identified. Climb flight level 230, proceed direct Zubik.
So if you're forgetting what views you have or how to find them really quickly, if you're a very mouse-loving person, it's very quick and easy to find your mouse views in ChasePlane as well. So that's also a really neat feature, and that's just the internals. I haven't even played with the externals too much. But you can put whatever views you want on there. Here's your cinematics, forward left, forward right, cinematic mid, cinematic aft, and I mean you can create whatever you want. These are all basically external spot views that have some. They don't really bank so much with the airplane. They follow the airplane, but they don't necessarily bank and move completely with the airplane. Just neat stuff. Then there's even a drone you can fly around the world. But the drone has never attached to your airplane, so it's very easy to get left behind by your airplane. So we're probably not going to use that one too much. But what a fantastic piece of software. It does pretty much everything I expected it to. The only shortcoming I have, and maybe it's not a shortcoming, but it is something that I, what am I trying to say here? That I would be curious to, I don't know. What am I trying to say here? I think it's something that ChasePlane Parallel 42 could add to ChasePlane, and that is just making this whole, when you pause track IR, it shoots back centered. Make that an option. Make it an option that I can free, if I want to do this view here and look at my FO and stare at her for the next hour, I can pause my track IR there and then move my head around like I normally would, and track IR pauses there like it used to in the old in the original MSFS. I think that would be a great option, and I'm pretty sure that's not a configuration option yet. Maybe you could set that up by group, or maybe you could make that as just a global option. But I feel like that's one. I don't think that's anywhere in here, really. Camera movement. See, there's just key presses and controls and stuff. ChasePlane features. See, mouse look scroll. Mouse looks click to smart view. See, I turned off the scroll to zoom because I found that was awkward. Yeah, because it's set up by group. Track IR is enabled or disabled by group. Head tracking. So a secondary option, freezing head tracking resets view or not. I think that would be great. But like out of all the stuff this software does, that's the one shortcoming I've come up with. Otherwise, I think it's a fantastic piece of software. I am really, I'm just super stoked about it. As a streamer, it's fantastic because I've set up so many custom views, so many custom buttons. So of course I've got all the groups, as I said, and it makes it so nice. Like I just have 2 pilot views, first officer and captain, and I can press 1 and because it's just cycling through the list, it goes from 1 to 2 to 1, the first one to the second one, back to the first one to the second one, and I can scroll back and forth between these 2 sites till the cows come home. Number 2, very useful, of course, but some of these groups are pretty long. I've got a lot of internal camera views here. A lot of these are kind of defaults, but they're really useful. So what I did was I did go and do the joystick button assignments, because I don't really use the joystick buttons for much else. They don't exist in the real aircraft, so I don't find they're very realistic. I have a throttle quadrant with flap lever, park and brake, all that sort of stuff on it, so I find I don't need this. So what I've done is as I've assigned a lot of these buttons to do various things. So what are the big things you need, especially in the Airbus? Overhead panel all the time. So I made the overhead panel its own button. And then I realized, because if you press the second time, it goes to second view. You don't need this often, but you need it every once in a while. So therefore, we have the main overhead panel and then the rear overhead panel. So I can be anywhere. I can be in the cabin, and all of a sudden I can go, hey, overhead view. And if I press the second time, I get the rear overhead. Really straightforward, but like, what a great view. The other one that, of course, you need a lot on VATSIM is radios. There you go, COM1, and then COM2 with the transponder below it. So that's why this one's just a little bit further down, is because I wanted to get the transponder in this view as well. So I've got COM2 and the transponder. Boom, and I can just flip-flop back and forth between them. They're the only 2 things this button activates, but really quickly, easily get into these things. And then for the instrument views, I have 6 buttons on the side here, so I said, why don't I take that top row of buttons and say main panel, left, middle, right. And now, I can do the flight instrument cross-check between the first officer and the captain super quickly if I want to. I can get to this. The only trouble with this default ECAM view here is that you can't pull up the SD pages. You need to press the buttons for the SD pages, which is the final button that I programmed here on my joystick, which is a very slightly modified view of the center that brings in the SD button. So now you can scroll through these lists, see all these pages, press the status page, recall, whatever. I can still see what's on the ECAM, but I can also press the buttons at the same time. Simple, but I'm surprised it was not a default view that was available. So that's my ECAM view down here. But it's a hot button, so I can go to it very quickly. So if we have an emergency happen and I need to do an ECAM action, boom, I'm here, and I've got the access to the clear button, the recall button, all the SD pages, whatever I need to access and use the ECAM usefully. But otherwise, I can go back to this kind of normal view, but you just don't get these buttons. You get it a little more flat on, but you don't get the buttons that you need so often. So simple, not simple software, though, I don't think, really. I mean, very powerful software. The thing that makes it simple is the intuitiveness of it. It's so user-friendly, it's not even funny. I am so impressed by this piece of software. It's not cheap. I think it's $35 or $40, but whatever it is, I have to say 100% worth it, especially as a streamer. As a streamer, it is just... as a streamer especially, it is just indispensable, I would say, even. Just a fantastic piece of software. Let's just see here. If I go here, I'm just curious how much it is now because I forgot, because I just bought it. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. It's $30 US, so I think for me it was about 40 something dollars. It's not bargain basement software by any means, but ChasePlane has created some very powerful software. They are updating it periodically. I wonder if they have a place where you can make a suggestion, because I really would like to make that suggestion. I think that's... I just would like to make that suggestion. I think it would help. And I don't mind making suggestions on how to improve software. I don't know how easy it would be, but certainly something to consider. Maybe the developer just looked at it and said they liked it this way, and they never thought that other people maybe didn't. And so maybe that's something that they could look at and say, hey, you know what? Some people might like it that way. Good software recognizes that different people like to do things different ways and works with that. Overall, fantastic piece of software. The other thing, too, I will compliment is their tutorial. So if you click the button up here, you can go and run the tutorial again. I found the tutorial very, very useful. It very quickly walked you through getting everything set up, how to use the various options. I highly recommend anyone, even if you use ChasePlane before in the previous versions, I highly recommend the tutorial. It was great. It's about 15 minutes, I think, in total. Like, there's a short version, and then at about halfway through, it asks you, hey, do you want to go in depth and really kind of learn some stuff, or do you want to just get started and just finish the tutorial with the basics? And I didn't find the in-depth tutorial onerous by any means. I thought the in-depth tutorial was great. It just gave a little bit deeper knowledge of what's in the menus, what the capabilities are, but it didn't. Yeah, it 15 minutes maybe, and I was using the software, and I, you know, it's one of those things. You'll use it more like a pro the more you use it. Like I said, like I've gotten very good at, like, hey, overhead, radio, great, and then back to my home position again. Simply fantastic. I've got to say, like, definitely, you know, and we just finished the Navigraph survey, but hands down, best release so far this year is ChasePlane. Just reimagines the sim. Now, as far as I know, I believe it's not available yet for FS 2024, but it is being worked on. I think the camera system again changed in 2024, but to the best of my knowledge, Parallel 42 does definitely want to bring this to 2024, and for anyone who buys it in 2020, of course, it will be included as a free upgrade when they make it available for 2024 as well. Like I said, I think it's just fantastic. I think it's hands down the best software I've purchased for my simulator in at least the last 6 months. I can't think of the last thing I purchased that I had to say was up to the level of ChasePlane. Probably the last thing I bought that I think made me as excited and as happy in the sim as that piece of software was when Fenix released the 321, 319 package. I think this is the best release since then. It's just, and especially, like I said, as a streamer, because you can link the buttons, you can do so many custom views, even not even as a streamer, but as a video content developer too. Unfortunately, I'm like halfway through my A320 series, and I didn't have ChasePlane available for the first half, and that's very frustrating because, like, Microsoft Flight Simulator limits you to only a certain number of views, 10 views available in each aircraft. So, like, you know, for example, the overhead, if you want to zoom in on a certain section of the overhead, there's no quick and easy way to do it pre-ChasePlane. If let's say let's say we're doing the hydraulics panel or the fuel panel or something. Let's say we're doing the fuel panel. There's no way easily to adjust. What is it? There we go. To adjust the camera. Look at how easy that is. So, like, now we're so zoomed in, you guys can see clearly what I'm doing or talking about on the fuel panel. Whereas with Microsoft Flight Simulator's limitations, this is it. You know, quite zoomed out. It's a big, complicated panel, and even if I'm just talking about only the fuel panel, this is as close to it as I get without spending a whole bunch of time trying to get in close. And when you're trying to record a video and do multiple things at once, you know, you're trying to talk about what's going on, talk about the system. You're trying to activate the buttons in the system. You're also trying to, you know, if you're trying to move the camera around and zoom in, it's too much to do all at once, especially when you've got multiple things. Let's say you're explaining the overhead flow, so you've got to start over here, and you got to do stuff over here first, and then you got to come here, 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 here. Like, the amount of different camera positions you'd have to load up and then zoom and then come back to them over and over again, it's impossible to do with Microsoft Flight Simulator's camera system.
Know that I'm here, so I'm normally not. But you can contact Bremen radar on 119, that's with 490.
But ChasePlane just makes it so easy. You can create a literally infinite number of views, and the other nice thing is that you can create extra special views, and you can exclude them from your lists here. So let's just as an example, let's do the fuel. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's create a view that highlights, you know, this part of the overhead panel, hydraulic fuel. And I could even leave it on here and have it be electrical as well. And what I can do is now go over here and say, create instrument close-ups, which is, this is the reason why I created this group. Skip when cycling views. So it's not going to be part of my cycle views, but it is now going to be stored for when I want to make my next video. And custom view name. Hide fuel elect. And so now I have a new view down here. There we go. It actually created it right after my current view. I'm going to move it way down to the bottom. I'm going to hide the bottom because I don't care. I don't want it to come up. And you'll see it has no hotkey right now. The nice thing is if I ever want to make a video that includes this, I can create temporarily a hotkey for just this view, pop in and out of it as many times as I need to, and then remove that hotkey later. The view will still be remembered even with or without the hotkey. So now I can go to the circuit breaker wall. I can go to, I can go to overhead, and then let's say you want to zoom. Oops. Let's say you want to zoom in here on hydraulic, electric. Much easier. The quality of cinematics that you can create with ChasePlane, it's just worlds above what was available with the default camera system. I wish ChasePlane had been available when I started making my A320 series, because I think it would have. I think it would have definitely made the series a lot easier to produce and a lot higher quality, because you could really zoom in on the various controls. As it is right now, you're on this very zoomed out, and you're like, what button is he pressing? What's that white blob up there in the corner? I mean, even if you're doing it at HD, it's a pretty big panel with a lot of buttons on it that's hard to sometimes see the individual things you're doing, as opposed to being zoomed right in right here, where you can now clearly see the markings on every button and everything. So going forward, my A320 videos will feature this. Now, that being said, there is a video that is almost finished development, which is the pushback and startup video that is not, I'll say about 80% complete at this point. 80-85% complete. I have to finish it, but I recorded it before ChasePlane released. So it was all released with the default camera system, and for the amount of time and effort it takes to record these videos, I'm probably not going to go back and re-record it at this point. Likewise, the next step after that, taxiing. I haven't started editing that one yet, so I may go back and start using ChasePlane with the taxi view, because I feel like I need to. I feel like... And part of me wants to go back and just redo all the videos, because it's going to be game-changing for the quality of the video, the quality of the production. But the trouble is, like, you can't upload a replacement or upgrade video on YouTube, and I understand that. I understand, like, how that could be very potentially deceptive, problematic if you were allowed to replace videos with new videos, because a lot of people would probably do it for the honest reason of, this is the same video but a slightly improved version. I fixed a mistake I made, or I improved the visuals somewhat, but at the same time, like, there would be people who would abuse it. They'd upload a video that is one thing this week, next week, as soon as it starts to go viral, they replace it with something completely different that is not what people were originally linking to it for. So I understand why, like, YouTube has to do that, because there would be unscrupulous characters who would take advantage of that system. But I wish there was a better way to, like, kind of indicate, as soon as you start playing a video, this video has been upgraded and superseded by this version, and have a link to it. I mean, you can put a card in there, but, like, the cards often don't get noticed if you don't have to watch the video at the right moment, and then, you're not going to have a card on the screen the whole time, most likely. So I don't know if YouTube even lets you have a card on the screen the whole time to say, hey, watch the updated version of the video here. So I don't think I'm going to go back and redo the first 4 or 5 videos, because it's also a lot of effort. It is a lot of effort regardless. Even with the better camera system, there's a lot of editing. It takes hours upon hours to kind of stitch together the videos, and the highlighting, the scripting, make sure that the pauses aren't too long, because oftentimes when I'm recording it, I take long pauses while I'm changing something, tweaking something, doing something, or maybe I've just fumbled a word and I want to re-record it a second time. So to record just the video content for a 15-minute video generally takes me probably about 2 hours of solid recording time, and then I have to just cut and edit it down to get the actual 15 minutes of useful video audio out of that 2+ hours of recording. And it's not easy, because it's little bits that you're cutting out here and there to cut out extra gaps, to cut out flubbed words that are then immediately repeated. I spend a lot of time. On these videos, and I enjoy it. I do, but the thought of re-recording those videos, part of me says yes, part of me says, oh yes, they'd look so much better, and especially like the overhead flow one would be so much better if I re-recorded it now that I have access to ChasePlane, and it would be so much better. But the time it would take, and then again, I'd be splitting the views between multiple videos. I'd have to then have these cards that link the old video to the new video and say, hey, check out the new video, don't watch the old video. I feel like it's probably not going to happen. I might circle back to it later. I might, because especially the overhead one was one where there's a lot of buttons, a lot of things highlighted, and it's bouncing around the whole flight deck, and a lot of them were so zoomed out you couldn't read half of what I was trying to do. Anyways, speaking of Parallel 42, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but here was a neat little project from Parallel 42. I'm not sure if it released yet or not, but they talked about it. I guess it did release. Yeah, so this is something really kind of that I thought kind of came out of the blue, but at the same time struck me as being a really kind of nifty little idea. So Parallel 42 recently kind of diversified their market a little bit, and Parallel 42 released their very first add-on scenery pack for American Truck Simulator, of all things, which is not something that you would immediately think of, but the second you start to think of it, you go, yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. That's not completely unreasonable. American Truck Simulator is not a whole lot unlike Flight Simulator. It's a completely interactive 3D world, albeit American Truck Simulator is scaled down. Like Flight Simulator really is like full one-to-one representation. American Truck Simulator is, selectively compressed so that the distances between cities are not huge, that you can kind of get through them in a playable time at normal driving speeds. But at the same time, they do have fairly detailed models. Like it's quite something to see how American Truck Simulator has evolved over the last 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how long it's been out. It's been like 5 years now, I think it's been out. I picked it up fairly early on, and I've enjoyed it to a great degree. I think it's a very chill game. If you want to have chill simulation, American Truck Simulator is generally it's a very just chill simulation. You just kind of you throw on some good tunes, you just kind of lean back, you pick up a load, you just start cruising the highways of America. And the scenery is quite compelling. Like they do capture certain areas very nicely, scale it down a little bit to make the driving times a little bit more practical for a game. But still, I've always enjoyed it. I've always thought it's been a pretty good game. So Parallel 42 has branched out, and they have decided that they're going to start selling DLC in American Truck Simulator. Now, I don't know if I'm going to quite pay this much for a single location. So they're charging $12 US for the Circle B Ranch. Sorry, go ahead for Scandinavian 2689er.
Scandinavian 2689er. Just to confirm, are you inbound Delta Kilo Bravo?
And Scandinavian 869er, let's see here. We are going direct to Mike Alpha Golf, and after that is Barap.
Yeah, Scandinavian 2689er, yeah. I remember I was trying to call you multiple times and you didn't answer, not even on my contact me. You can proceed direct Delta Kilo Bravo, and next time please listen more careful to the frequency Monty Unicom 122 has made.
Alright, direct Delta Kilo Bravo. Sorry about that, Scandinavian 2689. And this is my problem with streaming. Is, I kept hearing him calling, but like, I kept hearing him talk to other people, and I kind of was not listening as carefully as I could have and should have. I didn't even see the contact me's because they were already, the trouble was that he already popped one up once, so it didn't trigger again. This is going to be my problem with streaming Europe, is I try to talk and fly at the same time, and I'm not listening to ATC as carefully as I could or should. Okay. Anywho, little embarrassment aside. So, one little area out in a private cattle ranch located in Wyoming. And I think this is a first too for American Truck Simulator, like in terms of an actual paid DLC that is outside of the actual SCS Software's DLC. So it's a little airstrip, a little cattle ranch with an airstrip that already exists in Microsoft Flight Simulator as an add-on, and now they've taken those same models and converted them and used them for American Truck Simulator. So yeah, I have mixed emotions about this. I mean, I think it could be a great thing for Parallel 42, and they do make great scenery, and you know, American Truck Simulator like does rely on like some fairly detailed local scenery. So the idea of having some additional DLC like this is not a bad thing, and definitely Parallel 42's got some neat locations. $12 for one location, though. I mean, for $12 US, like SCS Software will sell you an entire state pretty much for $12 US. So that's the only thing I think I kind of might take a little bit of what am I trying to say? A little bit of exception to is I think the price tag might be a little stiff. I think it's a great idea, but I think I would have thought like for a single location, basically, I would have thought you're talking more like $3-4 kind of thing. $12, maybe it's a little up there. And I'm not trying to short sell developers, but just when I compare it to what SCS is selling an entire state for, and I'm sure that the states are not detailed nearly to the degree that Parallel 42 is detailed as one location, but still it's only one location. I would have a hard time shelling out the $12 for that. Again, $3-4, I would probably think about it. I would probably think about it for that kind of money, but yeah, for $12, it just strikes me as a little bit steep. But nevertheless, what an interesting kind of little diversification in their finances, in their appeal. I wonder how that's going to work out for them. I wonder how many they're going to sell. I mean, I'm sure it took some effort. It wasn't free of effort, but a lot of the models were probably already created. You know, you got to kind of relook at them, retexture them for being a little closer up. You know, you look at some of these things here, like the detail on this wall here. You know, obviously you got to load some extra details in there. Yeah. Interesting anyways. You know, I know there's a lot of free mods for American Truck Simulator, but for someone to actually come and start selling some DLC again outside of SCS, interesting idea. And if anybody's going to do it, a flight simulator would be a good flight sim company would be a good company to do it, because they have some good 3D modeling skills going on there. So they would definitely be the kind of people to do it. Anyways, yeah, I just thought that was a weird, not weird, but just like it kind of struck me as out of the blue, something I would not have considered, but it's an interesting combination. Not something I would have considered, but yeah, interesting. What else? I feel like there's something else I want to talk about, but now I can't remember what it was. Something that kind of almost passed me by, and I saw it in FS Elite, but I can't remember what it was now. And it was just like a news article, and it's like I almost passed it by them. Like, that's actually kind of more interesting, relevant than a first glance would give it, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh yeah, that was what it was. I guess I saw it this morning. It was from last week, I guess, and I somehow skimmed past it when it first came out. But I thought this was kind of interesting too, and relevant for us as, of course, Airbus pilots. But although we're not X-plane pilots, Toliss announced that they have a new official Airbus endorsement for their A3, for their Airbus family of aircraft. Yeah, what is it, 320 or 330, I guess, is now officially endorsed by Airbus, which is interesting. I mean, you know, certainly we know that PMDG is officially endorsed by Boeing, or officially licensed by Boeing anyways, if not endorsed. Licensed might take a different definition for the word license versus endorsed, but apparently Airbus is actually going to become a customer, ironically enough, of Toliss. So they're actually going to pay to use their software in a commercial venue. So interesting that the manufacturer of the aircraft thinks that the developer's aircraft is hyper realistic enough that they are going to use it in their development process, in their engineering department, like the systems simulation, or I don't even know what they're using it for. They don't really get very specific in the details at all, and I'm sure that because of this commercial disclosure agreements, they're not going to. But the fact that they will be using what am I trying to say? Yeah, using like a flight simulator developed aircraft for official aircraft development, like that just kind of blows you away. It's such a small little announcement. It was not really very. It was very brief, and it wasn't really highlighted very much in the news. But what an interesting development. So good for Toliss. I mean, fantastic for them. I haven't flown their aircraft, but I've heard so many good things about it. I've never really quite gotten into X-plane, and part of me was thinking about it for a while there, and then Microsoft Flight Simulator kind of came out and really kind of took away. It didn't take away the impetus, because X-plane is really out there if you really want like a realistic feel to the flight experience, more so than anything else. But the thing that Microsoft, of course, came out with is this immersive satellite imagery generated world. Oh, let's try our binoculars now. Like a Swiss Air, I think, or is that Turkish? No, I think that's Turkish, actually. It's really hard to kind of move my head tracker. My head tracker is what I'm using to actually move the binoculars. So that was really kind of hard to do, but but it worked. Yeah, what was I saying there? Anyways, good for them. Like, for me, the scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator and the three-dimensional buildings and everything that are generated from the satellite imagery, it adds such a level of immersion that I'm willing to kind of overlook the flight dynamics being not as good. And I think the other thing too that does that for me as well is just the fact that, like, there's no motion in Flight Simulator in the fact that, like, my seat's not moving. Like, I'm not feeling the motion. The only motion I'm perceiving is what I see on the screen. So I think for that reason, I know it's not real flying. But, like, I remember the first time I booted up Microsoft Flight Simulator and I did a takeoff from my old training field in a Cessna 150. And as we got airborne, I got a little momentary, almost motion sickness because of just the way the buildings just started to fall away. There's some buildings not too far from the airport, and the buildings just started to kind of fall away beneath you, like this whole three-dimensional, everywhere buildings nature of it really kind of like threw me for a moment. It's like, whoa, this really kind of takes it to a whole nother level of immersion. So I was willing to overlook a flight model that had imperfections because of that. And I feel like I'm not going to take the time for explaining. Even MSFS, I'll be honest, I've had a little bit of a fade out right now the last little while. I think it's just because it's summer as much as anything. It's just tons of things to get done outside. Nice day most of the time. I don't know why I'm inside. Why am I inside right now staring at this screen and doing this flight to Milan? Yeah, I feel that right now. So I'm not, I definitely have not been spending as much time in the simulator as I normally would, as you will. So let's do this. That being said, we got 55 minutes of extra fuel on board the aircraft. What happens if I bump this up to 100 here? It does definitely pull the speed up and take the time back. Probably now it's gotten so late, we probably have only going to take, it's going to take 3 minutes off the flight. 3 minutes off the flight and take an extra, take an extra 100 or 200 kilos out of the tanks. If I started this sooner, I probably would have actually made a difference. But, yeah. Where did we fly over? So what are we flying over now? I think we're flying over Germany right now. Where's my VATSIM radar? I think we are, Munich's coming, no, EDDN. I think we're kind of over southern Germany, and we're getting towards Austria now, I believe. I think we're going to start to see the Alps in the next 20 or 30 minutes here. And one thing we should probably do is just see if we got any landing information from Milan. So we got about an hour to go. Now's a good time to start setting it up, especially because I'm unfamiliar. Give me some time to kind of make sure I look through the plates and everything. So let's see here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for... that's what I'm looking for. So let's go to Milan. Let's go for weather and see if there is an ATIS that's available. No real ATIS available. VATSIM. No VATSIM ATIS available. You suck. Okay, if it's fine, we can work with it. We can work with it. Winds 240 at 9, cav okay, 25 degrees. So what kind of an airport configuration do we have here? 240 at 9. So probably... What's the variation? That's 3 degrees east. It's almost neutral. So we're a little closer to 35. I think. No. 17. No, we're 7 degrees off from there. 260 would be a straight crosswind. Yeah. So 240 is favoring the 17s slightly. That being said, the high speeds only seem to go one way here. Interesting. don't seem to favor the 17. So the next thing I'll ask is, do we have any flight tracking? Because I'm really not familiar, so I'm really kind of searching for some information. But like, I don't see too many high speeds that really favor landing south. It really seems to be like it's a land north kind of airport. And so let's see what we can find here. Yeah, and it looks like they are landing north right now. My guess is there might be mountains to the north that don't allow for landings that direction. Or maybe it's just noise abatement. I don't know. But it looks like right now they are landing north. I'm looking at departures and arrivals north, so let's just see here. The departure's definitely on 35 right. There's one inbound. I'm just kind of curious. It looks like he's lined up for 17 right as well. So is there construction there is the other question. Like, I've got so many questions. I feel so kind of like a fish out of water here, and I feel bad that I was not listening to the controller. I thought I was trying to listen, but I was not really listening well. And that's the trouble. Like, I'm really trying to maintain a listening watch, but at the same time, there's a lot of talking in Europe. I am tuning out more than I'm listening, I think. Do work in progress. I wish you'd sent me a text message. Let's see here. Stand 412. I don't even know what gate we're supposed to go to. Actually, I had it up earlier today, I think. And now I've... okay, so let's do this. Let's just have a quick look here. Unserviceable. Stands closed, aprons closed, marching assistance. Lots of stands closed, lots of stands closed. Runway 17 right, 35 left closed due to work in progress. Well, that's why we're using 35 right, I guess. All right. ILS 35 left is on test, do not use. Okay, so we're going to land 35 right, and 2, 6, 8, 9. Two, 6, 8, 9. I think it just says Terminal 1. So, I normally in Europe on VATSIM, ATC assigns stuff, but because I don't necessarily know if I'm going to have ATC, I'm going to make sure that I have myself a gate of some kind assigned. Boy, there's a lot of gates here. And a lot of hard stands, and there in the background, I haven't been doing anything in the simulator. It is automatically switched now. Nice. Automatically switched to cinematic mode. Okay, let's just have a quick look at this. I just want to see if I can figure out a gate that this aircraft has gone to. Just in case we don't get any ATC, then I want to have a gate without having to spend a lot of time thinking once we get on the ground. So I got time to think now. So let's do it. Let's think now. And looks like they parked at gate Alpha 7, which is the stand. They either parked on 604 or stand 604 or 605. And it looks like they made like the hard left in here. So it looks like they parked on 604. So I'm going to go with 604 when we get there. All right, so stand 604. And then the second you tap anything in the screen, boom, it kills cinematic mode and takes you back in, which is fine. But, all right. Yeah, so let's do that. So we're going to go to stand 604. So we got all this organized here ahead of time because we got lots of stuff to do. Again, not familiar with any of this stuff, so we're going to make sure we have time to look at it all. And I did try to look at it. Like I said, I actually looked at it 2 weeks ago when I was almost going to stream it, and then unfortunately somebody got sick in my family that we had to take care of, which is fine, but it just sort of stopped what I was doing at the time. All right, so the RIXAV-3 Echo, 20-2 Juliet, and it's one of these long stars here, Inler. And then, let's see here. What's the difference between all the ILSs to 3-5 for right? So we got an ILS Zulu, an ILS Yankee, so VOR DME is required for the ILS Yankee, and an ILS X-ray. And I don't know what the difference is between all of these. They've got the same minimums. It looks like it's the missed approach is different in each one. So we'll just do the ILS Zulu, 3-5 right. Alright, so we will highlight that one, and I think we've got all the charts we need here. Let's just do a quick little calculation. So 1, 2, 3, and there's my tablet. Once you get the hang of using ChasePlane and you kind of set up a system that you like for yourself, my gosh, it just makes everything so much easier. Let's see here. Landing weight. So we're expecting to land at 4.4, 58, 59, 62.6. 62.6, so I'm going to round up just a little bit and say 62.9, just an extra 300 kilos, just give me a little extra margin there. Got 12,000 feet available. No reverse, manual landing, flaps full auto thrust on. We're only going to use 7,500 feet. Yeah, we got no problem landing on that runway. 8,600 factored. Okay, all right, day off, don't call me. All right, so what do we got? We got about 45 minutes until we're on the ground, 45, 50 minutes. So yeah, so we definitely should be going through this, making sure we've got all the waypoints we need. We got a big dogleg on our flight plan here as well. How big is this dogleg? Because it's really big. I don't have any ATC. Should I cut the corner or should I just not? This keeps me obviously out of somebody's airspace. For some reason, they want me to go this way, so I'll go this way. Maybe I can go direct to Dayton after a certain point. So we're not going to be... Yeah, we're going to come up to the Alps soon, though. We're kind of getting to southern Germany. Is this Frankfurt here that we're passing over? No, that's Stuttgart. That's Stuttgart right there. But yeah, it looks like we're trying to avoid this FIR altogether, whatever FIR this is. Going around that completely. That being said, I'm sure we can still go direct from like Otago to Dayton once we get there. Just to cut the corner a little bit. Otago to Dayton. Cut that corner a little bit, and then there's a top of descent point scrolling into view there. All right, so yeah, let's go through this. Let's make sure we have... let's do this. Can we do this? Let's go plan view. Let's turn you on, and then let's go... so plan view, Otago. What am I trying to do here? Okay. Let's pull up the charts here. That's what I'm trying to do here. Get rid of you. Pull up the charts for the arrival. So the RIXAV-3 Echo. And let's just make sure that everything's in there that needs to be in there. I'm going to put constraints up. I'm going to use my tablet just to scroll through the list here so we can keep the charts up there so you guys can see what we're looking at here. All right, so let's make sure. Doesn't seem to want to connect. Reconnect. Why are you being a bear? She does not want to connect for some reason. Weird. And it was working earlier, but just for some reason now it's not connecting to anything. That's annoying. Because that makes it very hard to scroll through this and see all this stuff here. And of course, it's an Apple tablet, so nobody knows why it's not working. It just stops working. They never tell you why. It's one of the things I hate is when systems don't provide useful error codes. And what was I doing the other day? And it gave me an error code. Didn't tell me what the reason for the error was, and I figured it out eventually. But it was a very annoying error code. It was just like, it was such a generic error code. And then as soon as I figured out what the problem was, I was like, oh, okay, and I solved the problem. But like, the error itself was not at all descriptive. I figured it out on my own without any help from the error code. Error codes should be descriptive. Why are you not loading? Why are you not loading? That's annoying. Try one thing here, which is try changing to the other network and see if that works. No, maybe my computer's blocking it for some reason. Okay, anyways, we passed Otago, so I'm going to go because I have no ATC. VATSIM radar, confirm for me no ATC. Here through the dog leg, nothing. I'm going to go direct to Ditton and just cut the corner a little bit here. So direct, nope, tighten. Cut that corner. Alright, I know I see the warning about too steep path ahead, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to leave this up here, so hopefully you guys have seen that enough because I'm going to put it over on my other screen so I can actually see what's going on while I look through this. Pardon me. So I need the scroll keys there. Alright, so eventually we get to Rixov, which is where this arrival starts. Rixov is a max 250 knots, I see that. MC 685 above flight level 120. EV gear, max 230 knots between 11 and 9,000. MC 768, 230 above 9. 761 says too steep path there for some reason. Below 6,000, above 4,000. Yeah, it's only got 7 miles to lose 3,000 feet. That's a bit steep. Yeah, 220 knots. MC 756, 220 knots between 6 and 4. These are all between 6 and 4 now. E-Sight, max 210 knots. MC 746, same restrictions. MC 741, same restrictions. MC 435, below 5,000, max 210 knots. 430 is above 4,000, max 210. 425 is 210 knots. 420, 200 knots. And Inler at 190 at above 4,000. And then we're on the approach. Jeez Louise. It's a lot just to get to the approach. Inler, again, mandatory 109 knots above 4,000, max 180 knots at Todku, and that's above 3,000. And then the check height at FF35, which is 7.2 DME. That's where we start down, so that should be at 3,000 as well. And that's 170 knots max. get a couple of changes there. All right. And then the missed approach is 346 to 4,000 at 1450, not before MC 801. Right turn, max 200 knots, direct to MC 804. Then proceed to the SRN VOR holding there, 4,000 feet. All right, so that all is in there. RadNav, MLP 1099, final approach course 345, 346, it's close enough. Prague 340, so it's got some steep paths up ahead. It's, if we need to, we'll use flaps and brakes to help us get down. Let's see here. Still 162 miles to go. GPS is prime, nav accuracy is high. For the descent, we're going to put 0.77 slant 320. I don't like to go much faster than 320 in the descent because you can gain speed so quickly. So, excuse me, that helps keep the speed manageable. Let's see here. METAR, so winds 240 at 9, 25 degrees. 240 at 9. It's 25 degrees. It is a beautiful day in Milan. And the QNH of 1005. Which I will also set on the EFIS right now. I'm back to standard. So it's ready to go. And the barrel minimums are 891. Finally, the missed approach is up to 4,000. So we'll accelerate when we get to 4,000. All right. Too steep path ahead. I know. You're complaining about it. We'll see what we can do about it when we get there. Still 1.8. TCAS blue. That was me. I hit the autopilot button by mistake. Just grabbing the control column there. All right. TCAS heading. Really? All right, VS minus 1,000. Oh, we're not really clear of the conflict yet because he's still in front of us. There he goes. Now we're clear of the conflict. Nope, nope. TCAS again. We got too close there on the descent back down. All right. PS minus 1,000. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put the autopilot back on. It's re-leveling us at 340, and we're going to go back to nav mode. So Alt-Star nav. That's what happens when your head's down for too long. Don't even notice the traffic coming the other way. And there's Mach Alt Cruise again. Alright. Yeah, where was I here? Okay, so we were going through this whole thing here. Yeah, fuel prediction. We got 53 minutes of extra fuel. We got lots of extra fuel. Yes, I know steep path ahead. We're going to copy the active, and I don't have any other real plans. There's only 3-5 right, 3-5 left's closed, so we're not going to be using that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, so we've gone through the whole thing. Just a quick check of the status page here, and the status page got nothing on there. There's a company message here. It's just going to say that not that page. What am I trying to do here? Menu. Why am I doing this the hard way when I could just do this the easy way? Receive messages. This should just be an ops here. 5-minute delay on departure. Well, so be it. I got out as quick as I could. I do a lot of yakking in this stream, so yeah. So check the status. I think we're ready to go. So the let's go to the charts here. So the first of all, technical status of the aircraft. Everything works on the aircraft. No failures. No nothing deferred. No MELs. And airport. The big significant note to him is 3-5 left is closed, so we do have to do the approach onto runway 3-5 right. So the arrival today is the Rixov 3 Echo for runway 3-5 right, 10-2 Juliet. It's an RNAV 1 star. Vertical constraints are all in there. They're all as published, and there are some published holds as well available on the right here. The Isla Zulu runway 35 right, transition through Inler, and because of the way this arrival is set up here, I will probably plan to just transition directly from MC761 over to Inler if there's no traffic ahead, because there's no point in flying this whole downwind. It's just space building. It's an extra 40 miles of flying I don't need if there's no traffic ahead. If there's traffic ahead, we'll follow the star and sequence properly, but assuming no traffic ahead, we'll yeah, assuming no traffic ahead, we will we'll cut the corner a little bit there as well. So the ILS Zulu 35 right for Milan Malpensa, plate 11-5, MLP 1099, final approach course 346, and the check height at 7.2 DME, 3,000 feet at the glide slope intercept. ILSDA of 891 feet. Missed approach is as published or as advised by ATC. The top altitude is 4,000. MSA is 10,300 feet around the airport reference point. So there are some mountains north of the field. That's probably why we almost never do the arrival from the other direction. Missed approaches are all turning away from the mountains pretty quickly. So hopefully it's going to be a nice view when we get over that. Pilots still pay attention to military airport Camary, 6 miles southwest of the airport. Not to be confused with Milan Malpensa with similar runway configuration. So don't land in Calmary. Warning, false localizer catches may occur. Take max caution. Missed approach obstacle clearance is provided by 2.5% gradient, 5% gradient until 3,000 feet is required to avoid uncontrolled ATC. If unable to comply with this gradient, inform ATC. All right, we should have shouldn't have too much trouble meeting that in the, as long as all engines continue functioning. Got PAPIs on both sides for this HIL system. And yeah, landing on runway 35 right in Milan. It's going to be a convenient left turn off. It's probably going to be around Delta, maybe Echo. Going to stand, I believe we said 604, so we'll have to cross the under construction runway. It's fairly straightforward, taxi in, and then we'll take the Kilo 6 entry most likely here. We'll take the Sierra lane here to get to spot 604. In terms of the landing configuration, it's going to be a managed approach to a manual landing, low glide slope coupled approach. Clear for the approach arm, approach mode, second autopilot. Anti-ice will be off for this approach. Anti-ice will be off. The what am I trying to say here? Anti-ice is going to be off. Auto brake, we are just going to do low. We'll do max reverse initially. Once we start decelerating, we'll back off to idle and config full for landing. Autopilot come off when landing is ensured. Runway sight, no traffic ahead. RadNav is auto-tuning for the ILS. Again, the fuel predictions got us with 53 minutes of extra fuel, so lots of time to go around, come back, and try it a second time. And the secondary has got the same thing in it. There's only one active runway, so there's nothing really much we can put in that second one. So, all right, cutting the corner a little bit here, and we're now going to pretty much turn back onto a straight line to Milan. And there's the top of descent point in less than 40 miles. I like it. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
Any questions?
No questions.
All right. So the one thing I need to do is I just need to trigger the approach briefing page here. So the weather's good. We're going to say the runway's dry. APU after landing, yes. Fairly short taxi in. Approach type, ILS. Threats, terrain is a threat, so we're definitely going to make sure we have terrain on ND mode there. Auto land, no. Final sector, yes. FO EFIS, yes. MDA is 891. 891. Transition altitude 6,000 sounds right. Arrival airport's altitude is, let's pull that out here. Arrival airport elevation is 768. And transition altitude by ATC. Alright, so 768 for the airport altitude, and then we don't have a decision height today. Alright. And I think we're just about ready here. I think this is going to work out okay. So now that we passed Ditton, we should be on an odd altitude. because we're going to start down momentarily, I'm just going to go to 330. It's going to put me in conflict with this traffic up ahead here. Not sure where they're going or what they're doing, if they're also inbound to Milan or what they're doing, but get a nice view now of the Alps as well as we come across here. Beautiful. Oh, got a bunch of airplanes going southbound here. Not close enough to actually see the objects, but close enough to see the contrails. What if we look at? We look at the mountains here with our binoculars. Kind of some low terrain. This is the only trouble with the binocular mode is you do see how you just zoom into the low poly terrain that's underneath you, and at the distance it hasn't rendered to a higher level. All right, Altstar. There's flight level 330 now, and we're going to start down here momentarily. Because that first restriction is at 12, I think I'll put 12 as our first altitude here for the descent. So we are in alt. Here comes 12,000, and away we go. Oh, good times. So yeah, I'm excited about Scandinavian Airlines. I think it's going to be a good airline for at least a couple of seasons. We're definitely going to see some stuff in Europe. It was a little bit of a challenge too, just to find some airports that kind of were included as default scenery. So London Heathrow is default scenery. It's not fantastic, and there are some better ones out there, but also I can only spend so much money on scenery. So yeah, we've got a good schedule coming up. But if you look at Scandinavian, I'm wondering who's offering me jobs here now. Air France wants me to come work for them for $63.70. British Airways wants me. Wow, look at all these guys that want me here. A lot of European airlines need to want me all of a sudden now. All right, but we're going to go Europe. I just want to show you guys like the SAS route network, but the fact that it does have a you know, 3 different major hubs makes it a lot more interesting than some of the other ones would have been. EasyJet was the other one I was really contemplating, but lots of different airports covered. But you can see they come in and out of three different hubs, so you wouldn't be stuck just going one way all the time. You definitely would have some variety in which hubs you're coming in and out of, which is great. That's exactly what I was kind of looking for. All right, the other thing, of course, we got lots of messages on the dashboard here. We almost have $4,000, almost enough to afford the triple there. Another couple of flights. We'll actually have enough money to buy that triple type rating if we want it. I don't think Scandinavian operates any triples, so I don't think we're going to use it right now. Saturday event poll, Saturday event poll, Saturday event poll, I don't care about. I'm not so concerned with these Saturday event polls, so I might start deleting these messages. And when I did apply for jobs, lots of places accepted my application. So then it was a matter of what I wanted. So that was my last flight there. I got a credit for that. And then Scandinavian Airlines, Vueling, and EasyJet were the 3 that I applied for. They all accepted my application. I'm a pretty good pilot, I guess. Everybody would like to hire me. I went with Scandinavian just for the 3 hubs. It was really what kind of did it for me. And I thought that you're going to see some nice scenery in this in the Nordic countries as well. Thrust idle descent, all blue. There goes our top of descent point. Down we go. All right, descending just over the Alps here on our way down into Milan. And what I say the 100-mile safe was 10,300 for 25 miles around the 25 miles around the airport. So yeah, I think as an altitude 12,000 will work just fine for now, and we should come across those Alps. But oh, what nice scenery out here today. Definitely different than what we've been seeing the last little while. A lot of flat up and down the U.S. Northeast corridor. And we went pretty much right over Zurich. I didn't even notice there. We were still chatting and yakking away through the approach briefing. So he really wants to say this. I have control.
You have control.
She really wants me to say it. I think the next thing is the approach briefing, right? We don't have a top of descent briefing in this aircraft, just an approach briefing. Yeah, okay. All right. We're doing good, ladies and gentlemen. I am getting through my first thing in Europe. My first lesson is listen more on the radio. When you're on ATC frequency, you're going to have to shut up more and listen more, because it's funny because like I'm generally pretty good at it, but I really was... It's one thing when you're making small talk that's not really... I don't say not really relevant, but yeah, not really relevant. It's another thing when you're trying to actually really focus and make a interesting stream and really kind of cover a topic in depth. Like I was trying to explain. My voice is starting to fail me here. I was really trying to explain ChasePlane like in depth and show like all the features and everything it can do and what a great thing it is. And then I ended up losing a lot of my attention to ATC. So like when you're making small talk, you're still kind of half listening, but I really was not listening. I was honestly, I thought I was, but I really, in hindsight, I was not listening at all. And it was fair of that controller to call me out. I should have been definitely listening more carefully. So lesson learned for the future. We will definitely try to be much more on it. Ooh, that's a nice one there. That could be a title card right there. If I make myself disappear for a moment as well, because it's easier to kind of some nice title cards there maybe. A little wibble wobble of the wings. What other views do we have here? This is the cinematic aft view, cinematic nose view, and then I think I added a few more. Oops. To my other 320 here. I did like this one. That's even nicer when you're on the ground, but that's nice. Oops. Let's see what else we got here. These are the ones we've already got. Yeah. Let's definitely import that selected one anyways into my list. These could also be nice views too. So this is number 5. I might just shrink that down. Coming across the Alps, it's starting to level out as we get over towards Milan here. There are some nice views here. Anyways, should really focus on what we're doing here. Descending for 211. We are on path. It's looking good. Yeah, we're looking pretty good to be on path here. What's our planned crossing altitudes here? Rixov are planning at 173 MCE 685 at 137. That's where we're 12,000 above, and we're planning it at 120 above, and we're at 137, so it's pretty good. Milan should be, this is kind of, we're getting into the foothills of the mountains again, so Milan should be just up ahead here, and I guess I should put myself up there. Thomas GT, how's it going? Hold on while I put myself back up there. Hey, how's it going? We are on our descent into Milan, and I only got yelled at by ATC once so far, so I need to do better. I need to do better. I need to focus on the primary job of flying the airplane. I've gotten away with being very lazy about ATC in the US because it's so rarely on when I'm flying, when I'm streaming. So that the few times that it's on, but like I so want to talk about ChasePlane, so I was talking about ChasePlane and talking, and then yeah, they then yeah, completely ended up missing a whole bunch of ATC calls, unfortunately. So I will try to do better in the future. Slowing for 250 knots at Rixov. And the airport should be, oh yeah, there it is right there at 12 o'clock. I see it there. But we got to swing out for a right downwind. Got some turbulence happening here. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and set 6,000 now for an altitude. We're going to send 6,000 on the path. Looks like we've got alt magenta for a 9,000 foot constraint. Yeah, really nice scenery out there too. It's fun. It's an adventure to explore a different part of the world. I feel apprehensive only because oh, my sim's freezing. No, unlock. Okay, woo. I feel apprehensive about flying into Europe just because I'm not familiar with it. But the best way to defeat that is to do it. Is to fly it. Is to just do it. and get a little bit used to it. There's lots of information about it out there, and I have read some stuff. I was going to do the stream 2 weeks ago, and because one of my kids got sick and had to be taken care of, I didn't end up doing it the day I wanted to. So I read the stuff like the couple days leading up to that, and then I kind of haven't touched it since. I've been busy, and I have not touched it since, and I kind of wish I'd reviewed the airport info, but it was fairly straightforward. You know, shut down the APUs quickly after landing. Most of it actually struck me as being fairly straightforward. Nothing terribly crazy really in there. So, yeah, it's just a matter of just doing it, getting out there and doing it. All right, looks like we're starting to get stuck a little bit above the path here, so we are going to go ahead and throw some spoilers out there. Try and get ourselves back down on path here. We are on Unicom. There's no CTAFs in Europe. I kind of like the CTAFs. I'm getting very used to CTAFs in North America. That now not having the CTAF here and having everybody on Unicom making calls is a little bit, not odd, not even worrisome, but just like it's out of my normal now. I'm getting very used to it. All right. Looks like there's somebody on the ground there. Or are they airborne? Nope, I guess they took off. Hard to get a sense of motion from this high up. We're still at 14,000 feet. Okay, MC685 is above 12, and then EV gear is between 9 and 11. So speed, looks like we're on path again. I'll stow the speed brakes for now. Let me make a little radio call. Milan Melpansa traffic, it's Scandinavian at 2689. We're about 10 miles north of the field, just starting on a right downwind for the ILS 35 right. All right, so we're going to slow for 230 and be between 9 and 11. So drifting a little high on the path again here. And EV gear, it is estimating right at the 11,000 constraint. So we need to be on path or we will not make the constraint. All right, we're getting there, we're getting there. We're also just at the top of the speed window, so we definitely need to make sure we are watching this here. Speed. Press idle. Alright, let's go ahead and get those seat belts and lights on now as we approach 10,000. We won't do the in-range check until we transition. Just going to be approaching 6,000. How's the TAT outside? The TAT's almost 10 degrees, so we don't need to worry about the anti-ice. I think we'll be okay below this cloud layer. She really doesn't want to slow down, though, does she? Doesn't want to slow down, doesn't want to quite follow the path here, so trying to help it out a little bit. There's the 11,000 just as we passed within the speed window as well. That's working out. I'm going to go ahead and set 4,000 here for the altitude because that's the bottom of basically the next window here. We got to be above 9,000 at 768 Bravo, and then I think we got the steep descent right after that. 230 knots, and we start slowing, but 230 knots for now. Looks like somebody is turning final there from Milan. Looking at them on the... Only one, though, so as long as we pass them, and I think we will because they're going to be at Inler shortly, we can slide in behind them. Speed. Thrust idle. So the plan is pretty much to go direct from MC761 to Inler and just cut the corner completely. Okay, there's 10,000 descending, 9,000 constraint, 4,000 cleared.
fly with us. It's been our pleasure looking after you today. On behalf of your crew, we wish you a safe onward journey and hope to see you again soon.
Alright, so we gotta slow down and go down, full speed brakes, and see if we can do this. Pretty sure we still don't have any ATC online, but I should probably actually really look at this just to be 100% sure. LIMC. Oh, there is a ground on LIMC now. I didn't even notice that. Ah, crud. I was looking at my VATSIM radar. I didn't see him. But I guess he must have logged on. ILS Zulu 35 runway and use 35 left. Well, according to my NOTAMs, 35 left's closed. It's a little bit late to be reprogramming now. Fif 15th of May, 1430 to 1600. It just reopened. Yeah, okay. Okay, well then we got a moment here, so let's do it. Let's just pull heading. Let's go VS minus 1100, and let's just try and do this really quickly here to adhere to the ATIS that they have put out there, which is the ILS 35 left. Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly before I screw this whole thing up here. Type approach, ILS Zulu, runway and use 35 left. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so ILS Zulu 35 left. Insert that. And I shouldn't probably be accepting a change this late in the game. ILS 35 left. I didn't even plan on that because the construction did end at 1600 now that I look at it. So it does also start at Inler, so I can go from Inler. Let's just check this out really quickly here. So I'm going to pop this up on the other screen. It's Inler, ECPOP, FI3 Lima Zulu. FI3 Lima Zulu is the final approach, fix 35 left. MC702, 4000 at 1450, not before 72. Left turn, max 210 knots, direct to FGOL, holding at 4000. All right, so at least that all just remains the same. And the ILS minimums slightly higher, 896. So let's just change that. 896. All right. And otherwise, it's all the same. So I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do direct to Inler because it's got the whole arrival here again. So let's go direct to Inler. All right. LS button's up. We're going direct to Inler. We're leveling at 4,000. We got 12 miles to Inler, so we figured this out. And we have information. What information do we have here? We've got information alpha. Ground is on 21.9. Well, that suddenly really changed things quickly. Thank you. And we should also transition to 1005. I thought I set that already.
1003, set, passing, 3,700, now.
Alright. 21.9 for ground is up. We've got information alpha. The QNH is 1005, so that's good. QNH 1005. We went shooting through it because I was getting distracted. It's a lot of work to do last-minute runway changes with only one person in the plane. It's a lot of work. Okay, come on. Get it up there. VS plus 500. Let's just get that back up to 4,000. Well, we didn't go all the way down, but we did go down a lot further than I planned to because of the last minute runway change, because I didn't even notice the ground was on, and then I suddenly just looked. And I'm glad I did. Glad I did. Ah. So now I'm on like a 25-mile final. Jeez Louise. Milan, Malpensa traffic. Scandinavian 2689, 25-mile final, runway 35 left. So Inler's a common point for both the left and the right side, and then it splits at Inler to be either left or right. So the star stays the same for both runways. Well, that was way farther out than I planned to go, so we're going to keep the speed at 220 for now. I see Inler 190 will slow when we get to within about 5 miles of Inler. We'll end up a lot further out than I had kind of planned on there because of the last minute change. Oh well, sometimes these things happen. No nav intercept. Well, we've got a nav intercept now, so you can probably clear that message. Approach checklist.
Barrow ref.
1 QNH 1005.
1005. Set. Seatbelts.
On.
Minimum.
896 feet set.
Auto brake.
Low armed.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Approach checklist completed.
All right, well, now we're going to get a gate assignment, I guess. See if we can still, we got a moment here. Start triggering GSX here. And I have noticed GSX has become very temperamental lately. It was working on departure, but now it's become very temperamental, and it'll do this. It'll get stuck, especially in flying mode. Nope, stop listening to me. It'll get stuck in flying mode very often. I'm getting more than a little tired of it. When it works, it's great, but lately it started to become really unreliable. All right, so Inler, it looks like it's a very slight bear to the left, and then that's where we actually intercept final. Still thinking about it. It probably will be thinking about it until we hit the ground now. Sometimes it works in the air. Most of the time it works in the air, but this last little while, I don't know if it was an update they pushed or something, but it seems to suddenly, for me anyways, it does not work reliably, which is so annoying because it's a good piece of software. It's annoying when it doesn't want to work. Flaps 1.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
All right, there's the 190 selected. So here at Inler, it looks like it's a very slight left turn, so we actually intercept final. Yeah, I can see why those missed approaches are all turns and why we probably don't do too many arrivals to the south. All right, I got 3,000 pre-selected here. All right, there's descent alt blue, 4,000 for 3,000. Speed 180. And we might as well just arm it up now. So there's Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2, Lokestar, glide slope blue. Do a little dodge to actually intercept the final approach course here. Well, that was a little bit longer downwind than I anticipated, but what are you going to do? We managed to pull it out with a very kind of rudimentary, didn't even really do much of a briefing, but it is VMC, so I'm not overly concerned about the conditions. It's just annoying more than anything. Loke. Over there's an airfield, military airfield that has almost the same runway configuration, but we are pretty established on this localizer now, so I think that runway in front of us is the one we're looking for. Certainly if you're flying visual, I can understand how you could make that kind of mistake. Milan, Malpensa traffic, Scandinavian 2689, 10 miles final, runway 35 left. Alt star. Look at the nose up attitude we got just to maintain level flight here. 7.5 degrees nose up with only flaps 1. Alt. Well below S speed. Yeah, we should probably do it. Flaps 2.
Speed check. Flaps 2.
That'll help our pitch attitude as well. GSX, you still figured it? You figured it out yet? Nope. It'll probably appear after landing. Glide slope. Missed approach altitude. 4,000 feet set.
2,500.
Radar
Sure.
altimeter alive.
Like a power plant or a refinery or something down there. Gear down.
Gear down.
No change in status. Remove status. Alright, there's 5 miles final.
Cabin
Speeds
crew
managed.
seated for landing.
Flaps 3.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
Flaps full.
Speed check. Flaps full.
Landing checklist.
ECAM memo.
Landing no blue.
Landing checklist completed.
Milan Malpensa traffic. Scandinavian 2689. 3 miles final. Runway 35 left.
1,000.
Alright. Gonna disconnect and hand fly from here. Autopilot's off. I don't see any traffic on the runway. There's Cat 1.
Checked. Sync rate.
Correcting.
Sync rate.
Correcting. Land.
Checked.
100 above.
100 above.
Minimum.
Minimums.
Continue.
Checked.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
Spoilers. Reverse green. Desal. knots.
Manual brakes. Didn't quite make that one, but we'll take the next one here. Alright, just gonna pull up my charts on the other screen here. Malpensa ground, good afternoon. Scandinavian 2689, clear 35 left at Papa.
Scandinavian 6209, welcome to Malpensa. Stand 602, taxi via Papa, Yankee, Sierra.
602 via Papa, Yankee, and Sierra. Scandinavian 2689, thank you. Okay, Papa, Yankee is the inner lane closest to the terminal, and Sierra. All right, it was a nice landing. It was a little farther out than I wanted to go, but that worked out really nice in the end. 1 sync rate, 2 sync rates, I guess, on final there. All right, just getting the flaps going here. So Yankee should be the next left here, close to the terminal, so we get a nice, beautiful tour of the terminal here. All right, we managed to get through that. Not without a few flubs here and there. Little ATC flub with Bremen radar. Not listening to him apparently as well as I should. Okay, here comes Yankee. And then the last minute runway change in Milan that I was not expecting. Alright, this is Yankee. And then Sierra, so the third of these like 3 satellite concourse things here.
Mobile phones may now be used on board as smoking is not permitted inside the terminal. Thank you for choosing to fly with us.
But we did it.
It's been our pleasure looking
We managed to get to Milan without breaking the airplane. I don't think we got violated. I think we got a talking to, but I don't think we got a violation at least. So we'll have to do better. I resolved to do better in the future. I did not listen to him well enough. I was tuning him out more than I was tuning him in, and talking about my chase plane, which is just a vastly wonderful thing to have, and I really want to share it with you guys. If you're thinking about it, I say hop off the fence and get on it. It just makes seeing your airplane so much easier. And in a way that's so much more flexible and useful than Microsoft's clunky camera controls could ever hope to be. All right, so this is the third concourse up here on the right. 602 should be on the left, I believe. This should be Sierra coming up here momentarily on the right. Does say Sierra, good. 602, which one's 602? Quick look here, 602 is kind of halfway down Sierra on the left here, so fortunately everything is well painted on the ground. I don't even really need the charts. I can see everything nicely. All right, so as we turn in here, I'm just going to make sure the weather radar is off. It is off. The brake accumulator is good. The anti-ice we don't have on. I'm going to start killing the lights here. Kill the turn-off light. And, shoot, you know what I didn't do? Turn that taxi in. So this is 604, 602 will be net. See, as soon as we get on the ground, it seems to work, but it seems to really have issues now in the air. 602 here. 602. Yep, there it is. Sure, Malpensa Airport's fine. 602, give it a second. It's going to generate everything here. Out of my way. Coming through. Alright, taxi lights off. I see the marshaller. Alright. First flight of Scandinavian Airlines is completed successfully for the most part. A few problems, but a few minor issues. We will promise to do better in the future. Wow, that's a really wide yellow line. I think it's maybe overly wide. I don't know. Maybe it really is that wide. And there we go. All right. Brakes on. If you bleed, can go on. And shutting down the engines. CTU seem to do a little bit of a hard reset there. After landing checklist.
Radar and predictive wind shear system.
Off.
After landing checklist completed.
Parking checklist.
Parking brake or chocks.
Set. Set. Set and checked.
Engines.
Off.
Wing lights.
Off.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking checklist completed.
All right, here comes the bridge, guys. We're done. Season 1, or Season 14, Episode 1. That's what I'm trying to say here. Season 14, Episode 1 is complete. We made it all the way to Milan. A few minor issues, but I feel reasonably satisfied with that, and I certainly hope that in the future we're going to improve that. That's the key. Is you know, if you make mistakes in this world, you try to learn from them and improve from them. And I will definitely try to be more focused. I knew this was going to be a problem with flying in Europe. Was that the ATC is the ATC is simultaneously an asset and a liability when you're trying to stream, because it's great to have the interactivity with ATC and have people managing the flight and telling and helping guide you, guide you into sequence. Cancel checklist.
Roger.
She's still listening to me here. Come on, stop listening. Okay. But at the same time, like, I can't talk as much on stream and focus on giving you guys information, like showing you all the stuff that ChasePlane could do, if I'm trying to listen to ATC at the same time. It's going to have to be, I have to do both. So, anyways. Let's go ahead and do this. There is the spot view. Why did it not, why is there a tug under my airplane, and why did that not make it that far? Is it, oh my god, it's not designed to come that far. I guess the stop point, see, and yeah, I stopped where GSX told me to, but yeah, I'm supposed to stop over here. So, okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Drops a little bit of the realism there. The bridge could not make it far enough. Okay, well, duly noted. I should probably look at these spots ahead of time and make sure and adjust them if necessary. But I'll suspend my disbelief if you guys will. Anywho, yeah, it's still, we got it done. We got the flight submitted. The flight has been submitted. I am now up to leg number 2, and I believe we're going to go back to Copenhagen. Not now, but the next for the next leg. It's going to bring it up here in a second. It's just loading, and Milan back to Copenhagen is next. So, yeah. Stick with me, guys. I don't know when we're going to be doing that. Maybe next week, maybe not. But as summer gets a little bit busier, it gets a little bit harder to get that time in. But we will definitely try. But in the meantime, guys, yeah, Tama, thank you so much for catching us at the end of the stream here. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we will definitely see you out there on VATSIM, probably more likely than on the stream soon. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys all out there on the friendly VATSIM skies and in the Twitchverse sometime in the next week or two. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Have a great one, and we will see you all for the next flight real soon.